What's up, sports fans? It's your man D back, speaking my sports talk. All right, check it out, guys. Look, we got Monster Inoue under fire for the love of sports. Let's talk about it. All right, so today's topic, guys, I brought the under fire topic back. I had a couple of requests for this one, and first off, let me get the link in the chat. Don't want to forget to do that. We cannot have a discussion today if I don't have anybody to discuss this with. So for anybody who would like to come join the panel today for today's discussion, we'll get ready to drop the link in the chat. If anybody would like to do that. Yeah, what's up, everybody? Hold on right quick. Do that. Should have did that before the show started. I usually do. Apologize for that, guys. Copy. All right, so they're gonna link Ralph from Real in the building. What's good with you, Ralph? Appreciate you coming through, fam. So today we're going to be talking about Monster Inoue. So, and he's being put under fire, guys, because of his pound-for-pound status. A lot of people question Naoya Inoue's pound-for-pound status. So today we're going to have Naoya Monster Inoue under fire in concerns to his pound-for-pound status. And just like we did Canelo, put him under fire, and Anthony Joshua, we put him under fire. I got the request for Monster Inoue. We're going to go through his resume. We're going to talk about his accomplishments and achievements. And we're going to determine if, he deserves to be given his credit for being top 5 or if not. That's what we're going to go through. So that's today's topic, today's discussion. It's been a problem. I found out today I did a D-donut shop this morning, and I found out that there's been a problem with notifications again. So I've been telling everyone this, and I guess I'll keep spreading the word. One thing that helped me out with a lot of the channels that I'm subscribed to is when I unsubscribe and then resubscribe, then I started getting more notifications. So if y'all guys not getting the notifications, you could try that. And make sure you have that bell icon on, the dark one, the one that's colored all the way in. The other two, one of them you won't get it, but that bell is right next to the subscribe. Click that icon and make sure you put it in the dark one so you get the notifications. Queen Lisa in the building. What's good with your Queen Lisa? Dragon Leg in the building. What's up, Dragon Leg? Excuse me, guys. So just waiting a little bit for someone to join the panel, guys. It may take a little time because these notifications are having issues again. So we'll get a couple of guys. I'm pretty sure Smoke or I'm biased or one of those guys will show up. It's lunchtime, guys. I have kale sandwich today. That's what Monster like to call it. So Luis Puente in the building. What's good with you, Luis? So yeah, guys. So like I was saying, Naoya Inoue, he's hit the scene hard, and it would appear that he's hit the scene quickly to some people because he's a Japanese fighter and he wasn't well known until of course in America, you guys know how it is. You start knocking guys out left and right, and it don't really matter what weight class. If it's these exciting knockouts, then you're going to get recognition. And this is what happened with Monster Inoue a couple of years back, but he's been a great boxer. And, you know, it's the same story with a lot of these foreign fighters, you know, from outside of America. These guys are fantastic fighters, but they're not getting the views. The camera's not on them. So they're not getting the recognition or the accolades that they deserve because they're not seen. So Inoue's been a great fighter. It's just he's just started getting recognized here recently. New setup, D looks good, man. Thanks, bro. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm trying some new things, bro. And I wanted to bring the donut shop back too, Walter Wright. So, but I stopped working at that place, so I had to figure some things out. But the donut shop gonna be back in the morning, random, you know, like the ride-alongs, but we'll have that back. So, yeah. But Monster Inoue though, you know, and again, guys, I don't know what's going on with these notifications, but man, this is ridiculous. It's usually about 15 or 20 of us in. Holy hell, it's a lot of people that's live right now too, man. Maybe that has something to do with it. A lot of people. So I generally black and brown, red glove, militant, boxing Jedi, they all live. So I really but still I'm going to wait, guys. I'm going to wait a second until we get some more in here. I need a couple of people up here on the chat with me, 6 watching right now, but that's all right. I'm just going to ramble on right now about Monster Inoue while we wait for some guys to join the chat. But so, you know, in 2014, Inoue fought Adrian Hernandez, right? Now, Adrian Hernandez, of course, was top 10. He was a WBC champion. You know, he was rated top 10 of Ring Magazine in the past 3 years prior to when Naoya Inoue fought him. And he was coming off of a 7-fight win streak, right? And Naoya Inoue goes in there and he knocks him out in round 6. And so he started to catch fire then. He started to catch a lot of notice then. I buy houses in the building. What's good with you? I buy houses. Appreciate you coming through, fam. Everybody, make sure y'all hit that like for me. And then so Naoya Inoue started to catch fire. He started to catch notice then. And, you know, when you come into the pros and you beat established guys, it's different from coming into the pros and you guys understand the process and how everything, you know, shout out to Hefe. Always like to speak about the process when we talk about Tank Davis. But when you come into the pros and you go through the process, you start taking these, you know, lower level fights, 4 rounds, 6 rounds or what have you, and you do well, you could catch fire, but the cameras have to be in front of you for that. Doesn't even matter if you're getting a whole bunch of knockouts. The cameras have to be in front of you. Somebody has to be promoting that. You know, like Wilder came in and he was over there with Oscar De La Hoya, a big promotional company. He went 30 for 30, but nobody really knew about him because the cameras weren't on him. It wasn't being promoted right. So you can come into this sport, turn pro, you know, from the amateur rankings, and then, you know, not be known. But if you come into this sport and you're beating noticeable guys who are already established, and you're knocking them out, you're putting them away, and these guys have names in their respective divisions, oh, you're going to be noticed. And that is what Monster Inoue has done. You know, he's coming in here, he's beating noticeable guys in their respective divisions. And so he's not just coming out of nowhere, he's making a name for himself. And so these are the type of things that have people putting him on their pound for pound list, you know, and guys, as we always say, the pound for pound list is subjective. But Naoya Inoue is accomplishing enough, in my opinion, to be on the pound for pound list. Top 5. And when I say pound for pound list in this discussion, we're talking top 5 because a lot of people question him being on the pound for pound list, top 5. Some people have him there. Some people don't. But that's what we're going to discuss today. Lisa Bell said, I remember when I first saw Inoue, HBO at Top Rank was touting him. Yeah. He was an audience at a super flyweight, I think. Yeah, when he fought Hernandez, that's what weight he was at. Lisa, he was at super flyweight, and or was it flyweight? No, I think it might have been flyweight. Those smaller guys, I swear, it's tough for me to keep up sometimes. Dragon leg. Lewis says, you don't see that often because boxers won't take risks early in their career. No, they won't. And that's the problem. That's one of the issues that we have in boxing now. And that's this whole process that they're talking about, right? Because the boxers don't want to take the risks. They don't want to take these risks, man. And that's a huge problem. To get better, you have to fight better. You can't keep fighting lower level guys. You're just going in there and basically, that's nothing more than a light sparring session, really. Like, you can have sparring wars that'll teach you more than fighting low level opponents. You can get in there with, you know, a good guy that can box well and get in there and spar, and you can learn from that. Where are you going to learn against a guy that you know can't beat you? You outclass him in every way. You can't learn anything from that. And so a lot of these boxers, that's what they're doing. They're fighting low-level competitions. They're calling it the process, and they're going nowhere. So, you know, that's one of the main issues of these fighters today and why they're not accomplishing coming into the game like Lomachenko, Naoya Inoue, you know, because those guys are coming in and they're fighting the best guys. So they're getting a name, and then people turn and they want to hate on these guys, Inoue and you know, Lomachenko and guys like that, because they feel like they're getting too much respect too early. But they're doing the things that the other guys are reluctant to do. Those guys are reluctant to come in here and fight the best. They want to mess around and fight all of these low-name opponents and build their win streak up. You know, but their win streak is fluff. It's an illusion. It's a mirage because it's a win streak filled with nothing opponents. If you want to get better and build stock and build legacy, then you got to get a win streak of opponents that are valid at some point, at some level. Excuse me, guys. Dragon Leg says, low-level competition are just confident boosters. That's my opinion. That's all they are. That's all they are. And I don't mind, like, these younger guys getting a few of those early on. I'm not saying it's the wrong way to go. Everybody can't come in like Monster and Lomachenko just come in out the gate fast. That's not natural. So you have to have these fights and build their confidence up and give them some rounds so they can learn how to do all of these things that they've been practicing in the gym so that they can actually see a guy. Because it's one thing, guys, when like these young fighters in the amateurs, you get different reactions from the pros to the amateurs because you're going to be hit differently. You're going to feel different things. There is no headgear. The gloves are a lot smaller, so the punches come harder. So your traditional reaction, like the man across from you, he's not going to react the same. He's not going to go to counter the same. He's not even going to go to the same places to counter, because in the amateurs, they go on the counter if they counter you and they're trying to score. And the pros, they're trying to hurt you. So when these guys start training, I don't care if they have an amateur pedigree or not, when they start training and they start getting these professional rounds, reaction of your opponent, it has a lot to do with the sweet science. You have to be able to gauge how your opponent is going to react to. That's what feints are all about. Hand feints, head feints, foot feints. That's what feints are all about. You know, because when you feint, you're looking for a reaction. You want your opponent to either throw a punch at you, or you want him to move in a certain way so that you can time a punch that you decide to throw. So you have to be able to gauge reactions. And early on in these fighters' careers, these fights that they take, that's, you know, 4 rounds or so and things like that, these fights help them develop because the muscle memory, and they can see all of these things they've been practicing in the gym. They get in there and they try these feints. They can see the guy doing it. Oh, so he does dip down when I do this. Oh, he will back up. Oh, he will try to throw that jab when I do that. And then they start to recognize this. So these fights are important. Everybody's not talented enough like Lomachenko or Monster just come right from the amateurs out the gate and adapt to that type of stuff that they're going to do in the pros, because it's not the same. You don't get the same reactions from the pros and the amateurs. You're trying to protect different things. It's different. So Unbiased, what's up, fam?
What's going on, D? What up? What up?
Same old.
Yeah, man. You know, am I breaking up? I think my Wi-Fi, all right? Okay. Yeah, I think you know, in a way, in my opinion, you could put him at top 5, definitely. Or you can have him, you know, at 6, but he should definitely be, in my opinion, top 10 for sure. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I think I got him at number 4. Just his work that he's done so far. He had Fight of the Year. I believe he is lineal now at the weight class he's at right now. So, and you know, the guys he's beat are great, you know, they're really good. Like, you know, Donaire Payanu was good. He beat Rodriguez, that was good. Like, I mean, Omar, these are all good wins. You know what I mean? Moved up, beat McDonald, you know, and he's doing that shit in like 1 or 2 rounds. So, I mean, and that's high level competition that he's just blitzing and knocking out. You know what I mean? And you already know how I feel about when you're able to set up knockouts at a high level like Monster Inoue can do. And not only that, he showed he could box versus Donaire. So it's not an issue. You know what I mean? He's clearly, in my opinion, some people think he's a hype job. I don't see how you could say the guy's a hype job when he's knocking people out that are highly ranked, are proven, and, you know, listen, the Donaire fight, that was a tough fight for him, but that's a Hall of Famer, Donaire is. So I'm not, you know, I think the guy definitely should be.
Get into that because there's a lot of misnomers about his level of competition and some of those things. But yeah, Nonito Donaire is definitely a Hall of Famer, bro. He's a shoo-in. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame. And that's the thing. I don't, you know, B-Space, what's up with you, fam? Appreciate you coming through. Don boy, what's up? What's up with you, fam? I see you out there. Let me drop this link in the chat again. Man, have you been having problems with the with the notifications on Bias?
Yeah, I didn't get any notifications for your lives at all today.
I know, man. It's crazy.
So I just happened to see it, you know what I mean? Just browsing. I saw that you were live and I clicked the link. So, but yeah, I haven't getting any, none.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with YouTube, man. It's crazy because usually by now I would have at least like, you know, 20, 25 people watching. So But if it's going to be you and I'm getting ready to get started with this. I'm not going to wait too long. We already 20 minutes in, and I've been talking about Inoue. But you know, was you on the panel unbiased when we did the Canelo Under Fire?
Yeah.
All right,
no. I was in the chat.
Oh, but you was here though, right?
Yeah.
All right, so you basically know how it works. And we just doing Naoya Inoue, and I'm pretty sure we'll get some more people as people figure out that we're live. They'll jump in. But we're gonna do Naoya Inoue Under Fire. But with Canelo, it was concerning. I think it was concerning his belts and shit like that. With Inoue and Joshua's legacy. With Inoue, it's gonna be concerning his pound for pound status. Because there's some people that argue he shouldn't be in top 5, and then there's some people that argue that he should be in top 5. So we're gonna go, you know, over him and his career like we usually do, and talk about his fights in the past and such, and what they meant, and determine whether he is valid. You know, pound for pound list, I will say this is subjective, guys, and everyone has their own pound for pound list. Yuzo in the building, what's up? I appreciate you. I bet you Tomoko sent you, didn't it? I appreciate you coming through. Toby Bartlett in the building. What's good, Toby Bartlett? So, you know, pound for pound lists are extremely subjective. Everybody has their own pound for pound list. You really can't tell somebody who to put. But sometimes you hear names on pound for pound lists no matter where you go around. Like, most of the time you go around, you hear Crawford's name, you hear Canelo's name, you hear Lomachenko's name. Like, you usually hear those 3 guys' name on the pound for pound list. Once you start getting to like Inoue and Usyk and Estrada and Chocolatito and Leo Santa Cruz, it varies, right? But we're going to sit here and discuss Monster Inoue and talk about, you know, try to determine if he deserves to be in that conversation or deserves his spot. Me personally, I already have Naoya Inoue in my top 5, but after we finish this discussion, maybe I will, maybe I won't, you know. I mean, that's why we talk about these things. So, Unbiased, before you jumped on, the first fight that I had mentioned concerning Inoue was Adrian Hernandez, and he fought him back in 2014, WBC champion. He knocked him out in the 6th round. Adrian Hernandez, prior to that, in 2011, 12, and 13, was ranked top 10 in Ring Magazine and in the sanctioning bodies. He was coming off of a 7-fight win streak, and Monster Inoue goes in there and he knocks him out in the 6th round. So I don't know if you remember that fight, but I mean, you can attest to this is the type of thing that when guys do this, coming in like that, coming into the sport. Now, let's be honest, he hasn't even been pro, at least noticed over here fighting these guys, but for that long. So when you come in and you knock out guys like Hernandez in the 6th round, that's a big statement. And this was back in 2014.
Okay, yeah, I agree. But you could even go to when he fought Ryoshi Taguchi, because he in a way beat him. I think that was Inoue's 3rd fight, and then
he fought him, and he fought him before Hernandez. He fought you, right?
Yeah, and then this guy became a champion, and then he became a unified champion. Inoue beat him. That was to me, that was like the first fight where I was like, okay, well, and then this guy later on became a unified champion. So I mean, to me, that's a great win, right? I mean, because look what he became. I mean, he recently lost to Koji Ioka, but you know what I mean? It's still, to me, is a good win. But I agree with your assessment of Hernandez, though, for sure.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Hernandez became a champion as well. You know, I mean, he was a champion before, and he went on to become a champion again. So, I mean, you know, Willie Williams in the building. What's good with you, Willie Williams? Appreciate you coming through, fam. Sorry, I'm biased. Willie Williams with the $10 super chat, bro.
I don't know if he did. I don't know if he became a
Hernandez. Isn't he a champ now? You there, unbiased? Let me check him out. Check that out for me. Somebody in the chat, check that out for me. I don't want to pull up another window, but I think he's a champ now. But salute to D, unbiased in the chat. Willie Williams, thank you for the super chat, bro. Appreciate you coming through. I'm gonna put the link in the chat in case someone wants to come up. Don Boyle says, Sugar Tank Days. You like that? Yeah, Sugar Tank. You know what they used to say back in the day when you got sugar in your tank. You know what I mean? All right, unbiased. So moving on, guys. Here's a big one that nobody talks about, right? Nobody, I mean, like, I won't say nobody, but I will say that these casuals that always want to spit dirt on Inoue. Unbiased, you still there? I think unbiased might have some.
Yeah. I think my Wi-Fi is cutting in and out though.
Oh, no, I can hear you clear now. But so here's a fight, unbiased, that you hear about people argue. Well, unbiased will be back. Anybody click that link too if you guys want to join today's discussion. That you don't hear people talk about when they attempt to strip Naoya Inoue of credit. And that name is Omar Narvaez. Like, bro, we got this guy, people talk about Nonito Donaire. Omar Narvaez is going into the Hall of Fame. We have to understand this. From 2002 all the way to 2015, this dude was ranked top 10 all the way through. He has over 23 title defenses, Omar Narvaez. And it's like people, and this was earlier on when Naoya Inoue beat him. This guy, this is a Hall of Famer, guys. If you don't know about Omar Narvaez, go look him up. Tank earned Sugar Tank moniker from D. Jefferson. Bro, I heard that somewhere. Some old guy said it, and then I just took off with it and kept saying it then on. So it's not mine originally, but I spread it around pretty heavily. I did do that. Brother Boxing Talk, what's up? Damn, other black underarmed men get killed in America. Unarmed men, yeah. Yeah, I seen that, bro. I seen that. I think I'm going to talk about that this Sunday, brotherhood, on the power of the mind. This Sunday at 12. That needs to be talked about, man. Steven Jackson's brother, his brother at arms, that situation. We need to address those type of things. So I feel you. RIP to these brothers. Oh, good. Thanks, Lisa. But yeah, so back to the topic. I mean, how do you not get credit? Or like when people talk about Monster Inoue, like especially since he's beaten Nonito Donaire. You hear about Nonito Donaire, even when unbiased, and no knock on unbiased, but he just talked about Ryoichi Taguchi, right? But Omar Narvaez is one of the biggest names on Naoya's resume. And this is a name that will definitely land him in the Hall of Fame. And he beat Omar Narvaez back in 2014. But here's the thing. He fought Omar Narvaez after he fought Hernandez, and he knocked Omar Narvaez out in the second round, bro. This is a Hall of Famer, and he knocked him out in the second round, Naoya Inoue. My man Raider in the building. What's up, Raider? Appreciate you coming through. Ralph Unreal said, I'm biased, use the Ethernet. You can say hardwire that bitch in. Raider, I'm going to drop this link in the chat. I need somebody up here for the discussion today, fam. I need a couple of y'all, actually. YouTube hounding me, man. They're not sending any of my notifications out. Everybody telling me they're not getting any notifications. We talking Omar Narvaez today. Carlos in the building. Salute D in chat and boxing. What's up? What's up, Carlos? Appreciate you coming through. I got the link in the chat. I need a couple people up here for the discussion. But right now, we've gone through, for everybody who's just coming in the building, we're talking, we have Monster Inoue under fire today. Basically, that's what we're doing, guys. And we've already talked about the Adrian Hernandez fight. I'm biased and I both give him massive credit for that. I'm biased when he was up here, he was having troubles, difficulties, technical difficulties, let's say it that way. But Bias also brought up Ryoichi Taguchi, which was almost about six or 7 months before he fought Hernandez. But he said that was a significant fight as well because he was undefeated. And I mean, I would have to agree. Taguchi was a tough test, but Hernandez was a champion. And so, you know, but those are the two fights we went through. And now we just moved on to Omar Narvaez. And what I was saying is when a lot of people talk about or try to slam Naoya Inoue, it's like they don't even recognize or give respect to Omar Narvaez. And Omar Narvaez is definitely a Hall of Famer. So that's a Hall of Famer that Monster got on his resume early. These are the type of accomplishments when he does these things and he gets up to the point where he has gotten now and people question whether he should be a top 5. I mean, again, I have him in my top 5, and these are reasons beating guys like this early on are reasons why I have him ranked that high, beating the Taguchis, beating the Adrian Hernandez, the Omar Narvaez, guys like that, you know. So anyway, yeah, Carlos said he didn't get a notification either. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Like I said, for everybody who's just stepping in, I did say this earlier. What has worked for me, because it's not just my channel, it's been going on with other channels, like I won't get notifications. Just make sure that bell icon is selected, the dark one though. And if that has already been selected, just unsubscribe and subscribe again. That worked. That's been working for me for the channels that I haven't. Well, all right, guys, I guess I'm going to be having this discussion today based on you guys' comments and by myself, which I can hold it down by myself. Let's get it. Let's do it. All right, so moving on to the next fighter. Sorry, guys, I'm so hungry. It's going to take me forever to eat this sandwich because I'll keep talking. So I would say that his next significant fight was Kohei Kono. I hope I said his name right, guys, because you know me, I had it written down, but pronouncing these names might not always work out so well. But he was a former WBA champion. Again, another former champion. He was also, you know, prior to fighting Monster, he was consistently ranked. Okay, and this matters, guys. Like, the reason I bring up their rankings because they could have been a former champion Okay, fine. But we know what happens in this sport. Sometimes guys get a belt from fighting for a vacant over some foolery, you know, fighting a no-name opponent, and they pick up a vacant belt. But the reason I'm giving these guys like Hernandez being a former champion, but being ranked in the top 10 3 years straight, because that matters. That showed that they weren't just a paper champion. You know, they were a champion and they deserved to be there. Lawrence Williams in the building. What's good with you? Inoue gets full credit for Narvaez. He stopped him at the weight that Narvaez was dominated. Yeah, for sure, bro, for sure. And like I said, this guy's definitely going to the Hall of Fame. Lawrence Narvaez is definitely going to the Hall of Fame. Come join the discussion today, Lawrence. I need a co-host today. But so yeah. So we got to keep that in mind. So Kona, this is why I always talk about where they were rated prior to Naoya fighting them and give some of their background. And it's because we got to establish who it is he beat. Because people like to say, oh, who he beat? He didn't beat anyone. Well, that's part of what we're doing here. You know what I mean? And so Kona was rated from 2000, the prior 6 years prior to getting into a fight with Naoya Inoue, this man was rated top 10. Top 10. That's the thing. Top 10. Two-time champion already. Okay, he did lose to Concepcion, but again, you know, guys, like when you lose to a good name, you know, and you have a tough fight with a good name, that's not a bad thing all the time. Like we got to let this whole narrative or this whole idea about, you know, getting beat depends on who you get beat by and how you get beat. So losing to Luis Concepcion is not bad, but you know, he lost in a competitive decision. It was a decision loss, and it was Luis Concepcion. So again, credible win for Naoya Inoue, and I think that this is another one of those wins that propelled him coming along to 2020 to give him the right to be called pound for pound. Let me see. Let me make sure I don't get too far behind on you guys in the chat. Umbai says Omar trainer asked to see Inoue's gloves because he was hitting so hard. Right. That dude's got power. Like, damn, is that really fist he got in those gloves? You know what I mean? That's that martial arts. That's that Monster Inoue done figured out how to combine the two practices. He lay that level coming that fast. Omar trainer ain't know what he was hitting it with. He thought he was hitting it with some metal, like Wilder. Fury had bars in his gloves, lead bars. L-Dub, I learned a lot from you listening to your live streams. Who is that? Who is L-Dub? Lawrence? Who is that? I need to listen to the live streams too. I want to learn. I love to learn. Toby said, first time I saw Inoue was against McDonald. I heard a bit from Dave Caldwell and he flattened him. Yeah, I was hooked on it. Yeah, I think, you know, that's one thing. You know, that's something else, guys. Look, we know the kid can box, but the first fight that a lot of us have been introduced to Inoue was a knockout. First fight we saw him, he knocked him out. And we already know he has skills. And he's knocking out good opponents. See, so all this type of stuff validates what the kid has done. He's only 25, 26. He's only 25 or 26 years old, guys. You know what I mean? So, I mean, sky's the limit. Anyway, after Kono, he would go on to fight a few non-rated opponents. And guys, let's keep in perspective, this is still early in his career. So everybody don't have to come in and you're not even expecting everybody to come in. Like all of these guys, guys got light touches early in their career. So it's still early in this kid's career, but at this point, he's already fought Taguchi Hernandez and Omar Narvaez and Kono. So the next 3 fights that he had was not, huge fights. All right. The opponents weren't rated. So, I guess he was just kind of getting his skills up, utilizing the process. You know what I mean? But he was also fighting to transition in this period. He was also fighting to transition into a higher weight class. So when you're doing that, if you do it sensibly, you don't just want to jump weight classes and go for the best guy, because that didn't serve Mikey so well, did it? So he was transitioning weight classes the right way, and he finds himself in these fights, but it worked out for him. And he fought Ricardo Rodriguez in 2017, stopped him in the 3rd round. Narvaez, he fought him in 2017, and he didn't return to the ring. That was a 6th round TKO. And Boyo, he 3rd round TKO. So even though these guys were not, Boyo lost to Carl Frampton, so it's like he lost to good guys. So even though these guys were not champions or rated, they weren't like pushovers, but they were good tests. They were good tests for Monster Inoue. But his next notable fight would be the fight that somebody just made a comment about, Jamie McDonald. I think that was Toby Barley said that was the first fight he saw Monster in. Yeah, it's still up on the screen. But that's the next notable fight. I think that's why I went on that rant, Toby, to get through the guys that he fought in between. But this fight that Toby saw, and man, I need another guy up here. This is kind of weird doing this particular show alone, man. Let me get to the chat right quick before I move on to McDonald and see what you guys are talking about. Yeah, I knew it. I would say I wouldn't argue with that Unbiased. Unbiased says Inoue is a Hall of Famer already. It'd be hard to argue with. He's got 2 Hall of Famers. Look, here's one thing we got to realize when we talk about Hall of Famers. You got to look at accomplishments, right? So you have to look at titles that's won, opponents that you face. These are the things that they look at. This motherfucker already has multiple division titles in multiple divisions. And he already has 2 sure enough Hall of Famers on his resume. Because we just went over those 2 guys. Nonito Donaire and Omar Narvaez are sure enough Hall of Famers. Well, we just went over one. We talked about Omar Narvaez. So, yeah, I won't argue with that. Martin Machine in the building. What's good with you, fam? Yeah, I got to catch back up with the chat anyway. Totally Barlett. I also like how respectful and humble him and his father are. So refreshing. Yeah, you got some guys that's flamboyant and, out there, and some guys is not. Boxing Monster in the building. What's good, Boxing Monster? Unbiased Martin Machine. Salute. But I said, Inoue has 10 title defenses, 3 weight classes, beat 2 Hall of Famers, Unbiased. Like I said, I think that Omar Narvaez is going to go into the Hall of Fame. I don't see why he wouldn't make it, bro. He's got 23 title defenses. Omar Narvaez. He's a multiple class champion himself. So You know, that guy had an impeccable career. Walter Wright says, I think Monster can mess with those boys at 135. I don't know, Walter. You trying to get Monster killed, bro. You gotta slow down with that one, Walter. Let's let that man ease up first. You know what I mean? Could you see Monster Inoue little ass going up and fighting Lomachenko? I don't know, man. Lomachenko's a monster. I know that's Monster Inoue, but Lomachenko's a monster in his own right. I don't know, guy. But if he transitions weight correctly, Walter Wright, I wouldn't say he can't. So, like, Monster Inoue is like, he's a talented guy. He's not on the pound for pound list for no reason. Like, he's there for a reason. So, you know, I'm not gonna doubt him. I'm just saying, like, right now, that let's see what he can do against some of these other guys first. Like, what do you think he would do against a Luis Neri or a Navarrete? You know what I mean? Before we start talking about Teofimo Lopez and Tank Davis, what would you think he would do against a Navarrete? Hell, Gary Russell, you know, Leo Santa Cruz. Like, let's see him against those guys first. Shakur Stevenson, even. I don't know. We will have to see. Still a small guy, but I would agree with him bias on. You could say it's an argument to say that he might make the Hall of Fame right now. But I don't know about messing with those guys at 135 right now. Carlos Mendoza says, do you think Inoue will move up in weight? Yeah, he's moving up. He's going to move up. I'm not sure, Carlos, if he's going to move up before he handles business. I think he wants to try to go 4-belt at that weight and then move up. But they've discussed him moving up, you know, in the future. Bob Arum came out not too long ago, as a matter of fact, and tickled with a fight between Inoue and Loma at 126. So Bob, you know, like I said, he hinted toward a fight like that could possibly be made in the future, that Loma and Inoue could meet at 126. So that kind of gives you an indication that he will be moving up for sure. When, I don't know. Inoue on track to be undisputed too. Yeah, he is. And that's what I think. I think before he decides to move up another weight class, that's what I think the goal is. I don't think he's going anywhere before he hits undisputed. Won't he become undisputed? Yeah, everybody's going there. Yeah, it's very possible now. The Casimero fight was called off, but it's very possible that he can do it. Nonito Donaire, listen, guys, it can end up like this. It could end up Monster Inoue and Nonito Donaire with all the belts in the rematch for 4-belt undisputed. That's what could end up happening. Because O'Bally is going to fight Nonito Donaire. I believe Nonito Donaire can beat O'Bally. Now, a lot of people are saying O'Bally is going to beat Donaire, but because Monster took a lot out of him in that fight, that could be true. Because that was a really tough fight. I mean, that was a brawl. And the thing with Nonito Donaire is he's already on the older side. So Monster could have taken a lot out of him in that fight. Potentially taken enough out of him for O'Bally to be successful. I don't think so. I think Nonito Donaire beats O'Bally. I think that when I watched O'Bally in the fight with Tacoma Inoue, because he fought right before I think they fought on the same night, like the Charlo twins. I think he fought right before his brother. And he lost to O'Bally, but he rocked O'Bally a couple of times. He was touching O'Bally up. He was looking good against O'Bally. Nonito Donaire went to war with his brother. which is clearly the better Inoue, the faster, the harder hitting Inoue. And Nonito Donaire went to war with that guy. O'Bali struggled with Takuma, the younger, less effective, less talented brother. So I'm not so sure. Like, it's a fine line because we can't really determine how much is taken from a fighter at any given time. We don't know when that fight is going to be that's going to take a certain amount out of him. And was that fight for Donaire and Inoue? We knew it took something out of him, but did it take enough for him not to beat O'Bali? I don't know. I think O'Bali might lose that fight to Nonito Donaire, and we could get 4-belt undisputed rematch. Very well deserved. Great fight. The first one was rematch for all 4 belts. Nonito Donaire, Monster Inoue. That could happen, bro. That could definitely happen. Lomachenko would get 0 credit for beating Inoue. Yeah, exactly. Bob need to chill. I'll send you the clip of mine. I was going to use it for a video. He had me tripping, bro. You know Bob Arum. I told you about Bob Arum on bias. B-Space said exactly. Yup, the same card. Yeah. Okay. I thought they fought on the same card. You know how it is, B-Space. We watch so many fights, but yeah. AL said, I usually don't get this kind of advice, but I knew he need to duck Donaire. We're going to move up. Forget Donaire. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Just like forget about it. But, man, it's an accomplishment to go 4-belt undisputed at AOPS. That's the thing. And that's why I was just saying, too, before you jumped on, that's why he's sticking around. Because of the 4-belt undisputed. This guy, and then he's going to move up. But I wouldn't say duck him, but he wouldn't really be ducking him because he already beat him. If he move up to accomplish greatness, plus he already beat him and took his belt, people could try to call it a duck, but it ain't really a duck. But I see what you're saying. He should just throw that to the side, move up. And with the opportunities that lie ahead, I can't say that that's a bad idea. I mean, can't really argue with that. Charles D in the building. What's good with you, Charles D? All right, guys. Well, I ran my mouth and talked about, and ain't nobody click that link. So I'm running this one solo today. It's all good. Y'all know I can hold it down. So we're going to get with Jamie McDonald. So Jamie McDonald, this was at bantamweight now. And this was 2018. Now, a lot of people thought that McDonald could be the one to put this new Japanese guy in his place. He's a little smaller, and now he's moved up, and you know what I mean? So, and I won't say a lot of people, but some people thought that because he was, just starting to get a lot of recognition. You know how it is with guys from certain land areas, they don't get as much recognition or notice as these other boxers, so people don't give them the credit. And Monster Inoue, of course, with the flashy knockouts and everything, he had started to come on, but people felt like that McDonald would be a test for him. Well, with all of that being said, Monster goes in there and he knocks McDonald out in the very first round. Puts him away, which is another, okay, sorry about that, guys. Well, what's up? All right, now we cracking. But which was another example of how this
ass is hella flat, nigga.
What's that?
Oh, my bad. Oh shit, I'm on. Oh, what up, nigga?
Yeah, I was like, damn, what ass you we said her ass is hella flat, nigga.
Nah, my man was pointing out some chick. I was like, yo, she got thick legs, but her ass is hella.
Right.
She got
we got that part.
Yeah, straight waffle cheeks. What up, though?
What's up, man? We're talking Monster Inoue. Get this smoke. What's good with you, fam?
Inoue against who?
Chilling, man, chilling. What's up, OT? What's up, D? What's up, chat?
What up, Smoke?
You getting late start like everybody else today?
Yeah, man, not really. I started this at 12, but the notifications didn't go out. No one notifications.
Okay, cool. I'm glad there's technical difficulties so I can make it.
Yo, D, you look super clear, dog. Your laptop got a new camera or something?
Nah, nigga. I just got
That nigga, he sitting there cheesing. Nah, nigga.
some new technology for that ass, man.
My shit just upgraded, nigga. You see all this shit? I can see the grays in your bed, nigga.
I know, right?
Nigga, D out here looking. Yeah, D out here 2160 out this motherfucker.
Charles, did you see the new studio? The Speak Your Mind Sports Talk studio? That's how we rolling, dog. You know what I mean?
Now get the fuck out of here. You hit me with the back screen shit.
Right,
you gonna hit me with the he gonna hit me with the Jaleel live in Aspen with the piano and all that other shit.
Nah, he got the Muhammad Ali trophy. Today is monster. It's the Muhammad Ali trophy on profile.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I had because we were talking about Monster Noise. But yeah, bro, I mean, so I was on the Jamie McDonald fight, and I'll let either one of y'all, whoever want to start off first. Unbiased, I'll let you start off first, Unbiased, so you can kind of get the concept of where we're going with this. But Jamie McDonald, that's the fight that I was on.
Yeah, Jamie McDonald was a good win. You know, McDonald hadn't lost, I think, for 10 years, if I'm not mistaken, before fighting Inoue. Yeah, I think it was 10 years. And Inoue just went in there and stopped him in a round. You know, just bitch slapped him around the ring. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. I mean, that was a great win. Plus, Inoue was moving up in weight. So yeah,
and he was also another fighter. Like I said, I always bring up this. He was also another fighter that prior to fighting Inoue was ranked top 10 for 10 years running. But Smoke, what do you think about the Smoke? You were here for the Under Fire. This is Naoya Inoue Under Fire, and it's we put him under fire for pound for pound consideration because people have him top 5 pound for pound. So that's basically why we have him under fire today. And we're up to the Jamie McDonald fight. So basically, Smokey giving them the thumbs up, thumbs down, talking about the Jamie McDonald fight. You remember how we did it, Smoke?
Yeah. Hold on. Make sure I can find you. Okay. Yeah, there you are. Yeah, the Jamie McDonald fight. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I don't remember this fight. I just got some questions about what Unbiased just said. That 10-year run he went on, was that as a professional?
What are you talking about? Jamie McDonald?
The 10-year run of Jamie McDonald of not losing a fight?
Yeah.
That was as a professional?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very cool. And then also in that 10 years, was he able to capture a title?
Yeah.
He was a
champion. Will you edify me and whoever else might not know like me what those titles were or what the titles were?
He had the WBA bantamweight title, Smoke.
Yeah.
Was that the regular super?
He also had the IBF too after he beat Julio Seja. He had that. I don't know what happened, but I guess he got stripped, and then he won. I guess I think it's a normal belt. I think he won the normal.
Are you trying to find out about him, or are you trying to arrive at a point?
No. I'm trying to. Like I said, I don't remember this particular fight, so I'm just asking some questions for Unbiased, so we can get some edification, right? Seja is a good fighter, right? He stopped Ramirez after getting knocked down by him. Yeah, Seja's a solid guy. I like Seja a lot. So yeah, this McDonald guy, I don't remember him. But yeah, that Seja fight I like. And so I'm gonna give since I could either recuse myself because I don't really know McDonald like that, right, or I can give it a thumbs up off the Seja win.
Okay. Cool. I mean, he fought Solis too, so I mean,
he also beat what's his name, Komita, and Komita
Tomoki Komita, yep. Tomoki Komita, yeah, and he beat Solis too.
Yep. And that's the guy who just lost to Ray Vargas in that fight. It was a pretty tough fight for Ray Vargas, but Jamie McDonald beat him first twice. So.
And he was 7-0 in title fights before running up on Inoue too. That's another thing, Smoke. So
you said he was 7-0
in title fights.
In title fights, okay. Yeah. No, that's two things. So first, I'm gonna give him a thumbs up with the caveat that I'm not quite sure about who the guy is, but I'm definitely gonna do my research and find out all about him. So I appreciate the spotlight on a guy that I'm not too familiar with.
Well, you just take all those stats I gave you to the bank, buddy.
and he was moving up in weight. Inoue was moving up in weight too, and stopped him 1 round.
What he had to gain 3 pounds, something like that. I think you can do that drinking some water.
Oh, here we go.
He's coming up.
Smoke.
Yeah, okay.
Little guys like that, Smoke.
Smoke is stupid as hell. He gonna lose weight.
Yeah, man. Look, 3 pounds, man. Like you listen. You piss and shit 3 pounds on the daily. Like I'm not whatever. Cool. He came up.
They only eat rice and wheat. This shit don't weigh that much. Hey,
and dumplings and shit.
Charles, yeah. What you think, Charles? Jamie McDonald, Inoue fight.
Honestly, I want to see this nigga move. I want to see what is Inoue going to? He's going to 16 or 22.
22.
I don't want to see that fight. I'm not mad at it. It's just not as a fan. It's not what I want to see.
No. The fight when he fought him. All right, like this is what we doing. We going over his previous fights, right?
You going over
his previous fights, and we saying whether it was a valid fight, whether he gets recognition for it. Right now, we're looking at these fights, his significant fights, because there are a lot of people that don't think he deserves to be in the top 5. But I'm saying it's fights like these that I say this is validation, because he fought these fights early. These are the type of things that give you the credit for being, So I'm saying, like, what did you think with the McDonald fight? He fought him. He's already fought this fight, you know what I mean? But we were just kind of like, he fought this in 2018. We were saying, is this a fight that validates him for what people saying, why he should be, considered pound for pound top 5? Because
he should be. Well, if he's not considered top 5 pound for pound, he damn sure considered top 10.
Right. That's the thing. That's the argument. I mean, not the argument, but that's what's going on because some people feel like you that he should be in the top 10, but not top 5. And then there's people.
But okay, but if you want, my bad, D. I was cutting you off. But if you look at what he did, and then you look at Loma, like compare, like. You want to sit there,
but the issue, I think, the disconnect.
You want to throw
the
Loma
disconnect
in the top 5, but not throw him in there. He's three-time division.
You say what now?
I said they want to sit there and criticize and they want to throw Loma in there, but why not? Arguably, you can throw Inoue in there.
Yeah, I think he deserves to be in top 5. I think he do. And that's why we going over and breaking these fights down that he had before and saying that these are the type of fights that that you go through, especially as quick as he did, and say that this is why you're supposed to be there. This is why you're supposed to be in the top 5.
I'm bad for cutting you off, but D, how many fights Inoue got compared to Loma? They're around the same thing, right? 18, 15, 16, something around there.
Loma got, Monster Inoue got 19 fights, 16 knockouts.
2 Hall of Famers.
Yeah,
2
exactly.
Hall of Famers under his belt already.
But that's what I'm saying. But look at the argument. I'm saying 3 weight classes, and he's getting ready to set up for undisputed.
So you saying right now that you think that it's valid that he gets praise and they have him up in the top 5?
He's not beating cupcakes. He's
okay,
earning his.
Right, we got you, bro. But that's what the discussion is about. That's why we just going through it. And so
I wasn't trying to get emotional and shit. I'm just saying, like, the facts.
I agree with you. I think he should be there, but that's why we having this discussion and kind of breaking it down to pretty much express why he should be there. So
yeah, we just like we're trying to get Smoke to understand because we don't think Smoke.
Okay, so here's how you can get me to understand. Here's how you can get me to understand. Hold up, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
So traditionally, like every single, before Sugar Ray Robinson, whenever you hear somebody, and with Sugar Ray Robinson, whenever you hear him talk about pound for pound, it was about skills. They had the skills to move up to any division. Their size wasn't there. So an analysis of resume doesn't actually speak to a person's skill, right? So the issue with Monster is that he's really great offensively, but he has some glaring defensive lapses, thereby, in my eyes, not making him a complete fighter. So the idea that a not complete fighter is going to be in your top 5 pound for pound is a little bit, to me, doesn't make a lot of sense. Skills wise, Gary Russell Jr. should be ahead of Monster Inoue in a pound for pound list.
So let me combat that. So who you're fighting? Hold on. Who you're fighting? Right? Actually, can tell your skill level because of who you're fighting can have a certain skill level that we can say is really good or really bad. And you were supposed to beat the guy because he's not that good, or you think this guy's going to give Inoue a tough fight. From my recollection, I at least said that, this guy's going to give Inoue a tough fight at least 5 times from watching him and knowing who he's about to fight, and then Inoue going in there and starching them in 1 or 2 rounds. Now, having defensive efficiencies, every fighter has that. Terrence Crawford has a defensive efficiencies as well. He just got dropped in his last fight, and he gets hit with the right hand a lot. Lomachenko got dropped too, right? So I'm saying that a fighter has defensive efficiencies makes him not a complete fighter, while other people on pound for pound lists are getting dropped in fights. I don't really understand that.
Right. Well, okay. Well said, both of you guys. And I'm glad that it wasn't a back and forth fire, back and forth. Thank you, Smoke, for that. Now, look, let's stick on the topic, because here's the thing, Smoke. And like, that's the whole purpose of the Under Fire, bro. We can't say that none of this mattered. That's what we're going through and break it down, because if you're fighting Hall of Famers, if you're fighting guys that are already proven, have proven themselves, then that matters. And that's why we go through this. This is why we go Under Fire and we go down the resume. Did Smoke fall off? Oh, there he is. So that's what we're doing, but I don't want to get to a back and forth about that. Damn, my bias fell off. What the hell is going on? You still there, Charles D?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Yeah,
all right.
No, that was me. I hit the wrong button. I hit the wrong button.
My bias fell off. All right, guys. So let's go on. Moving on. Jamie McDonald gets credit from all of us. He gets credit from all of us for Jamie McDonald. He fought Juan Payano, first round knockout. It was another first round knockout. He fought him after he fought McDonald, and then he fought Emmanuel Rodriguez, knocked him out in the second round. So, see, this is the thing. He's knocking guys out left and right, and this is after he had moved up in weight already, guys. Okay? And then comes 2019 when he goes into fight Nonito Donaire. Now, at this time, Monster Inoue had already beaten a Hall of Famer. He had already captured titles in multiple divisions. Champ Ross in the building. What's good with your Champ Ross? He said Inoue is top 5 pound for pound in my opinion.
Wait, sorry. Before Nonito, what Hall of Famer did he beat?
Omar Narvaez. We went over that.
Omar Narvaez is in the Hall of Fame. Okay.
No, I'm saying, well, look, is Nonito Donaire in the Hall of Fame. So we're saying that they will be Hall of Famers. And I think if Omar Narvaez is not in the Hall of Fame already, he's still boxing. Is he retired yet? I'm not even sure. But he's gonna go. Smoke, do you know what you know about Omar Narvaez, right?
Yeah.
I've seen him. The Hall of Fame?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. He's got a strong case of going into.
I never thought about the guy. I never thought about the guy like that. So right, I'm not gonna go off half baked.
That's why
I start mentioning like Adrian Broner and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I went over his resume. I went over all of his accomplishments, and he has massive. I went over a lot of that stuff earlier. Omar Narvaez, and I mean, 23 title defenses alone is a statement. You know what I mean? You know.
Alone. Yeah. I mean, I get you.
Because Deontay Wilder.
I'm not gonna get. I don't want to go off track, and I never thought about it. I never thought about it. So
yeah, and I will say Wilder had 10 title defenses, and it was freaking blown. So 23, it's got to mean something if 10 means something. And I don't want to hear about level of opponents because all of those title defenses won't top-notch opponents from Wilder either. So like we gotta he's not a big heavy, popular, but it's still an accomplishment, right?
Yeah, if we're talking about keeping it even, like first off, the 10 title defenses is a heavyweight record. It's not a record for every.
What I just said, just because people don't recognize and pay attention to the smaller guys because the entertainment value is not there, they're still boxing. This is still the sport of boxing, and these are still title defenses. You know, so we can't praise one guy for less than half of the title defenses, and this guy has more than double because if last time my math served me correctly, 10 times 2 is 20. Oh my!
Yeah, but that only works. That only works if all divisions are equal. Yeah, but that only works if all divisions are equal.
I know they're not equal, but when we talk about accomplishments, you can't tell me that 23 title defenses are to be ignored and 10 is not because one guy's a heavyweight and one's a bantamweight. Come on with that, bro.
My bad, D. I slipped off, but what's the topic? I know you switched off.
Yeah, it's just no, we still on the whole live is Monster Inoue under fire.
Yeah, so, and this is part of the reason why Monster's under fire.
So we went over Omar. So we went over. Yeah. I was filling Charles in. So we was going over Omar Narvaez's accomplishments and achievements, and I'm like, he's pretty much going to be a Hall of Famer, and that's basically what we were talking about. But it's still about Naoya Inoue, though.
All right.
Right. So, just the heavyweight division is one of the original 8, right? The bantamweight division is not, right? So the idea is the reason why 10 title defenses is so significant is because the amount of time and the number of people who have done it, right, over the amount of time. That's why these divisions thing don't matter. It's not a apples to apple. Like there's not the same level of competition. There's not the same level of. It's just not. You can keep calling these numbers.
First off, no one's arguing that. That's not even a factor. And here, this is why I don't like leaning to anything that has to do with Wilder, because now it's a big deal about the 10 title defenses in the heavyweight division. My point is this. It ain't got to be as significant. Nobody's even trying to compare it or say it's as significant as whatever's done in the heavyweight division. What I'm saying is it's a fucking statement. It's a statement for you consider going to the Hall of Fame. It don't have nothing to do with the heavyweight division. If that man had 23 title defenses, that's going to help him get into the Hall of Fame, regardless of what you say about Wilder and the heavyweight division being more significant, because this is about Monster Inoue being under fire. So those title defenses and everything else that I mentioned earlier that Omar Narvaez did is validation for saying, yeah, he'll probably get in the Hall of Fame. We ain't gonna sit up here and go back and forth about what it means to the heavyweight division and the bantamweight division. That's really irrelevant. Like I don't need that. I want to stay away from in these discussions because that point is irrelevant. Yes, the heavyweight division is more important in every way. So let's kill that. That's a fact. What you said is a fact. Let's move forward from that. because that's not here or there.
Yeah. I mean, I got it. I'm just saying the logic, the logic flaw in saying just because I'm just telling you. If I could just finish, I don't even need to talk about Wilder at all. We can talk about the cruiserweight division and how many great cruiserweight. Just let me
Naoya doesn't fight in the heavyweight division, so let's leave that shit alone and let's.
No, if I can just make my point about championship fights, right? Because that's what I'm trying to say.
And we got it. You're just going to reiterate what you said before. I got.
But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. But okay,
go ahead,
I promise you, I'm not going to. I promise you, I won't.
Okay.
The idea that there are guys in the cruiserweight division who have over 10, like damn near 20 title defenses that aren't in the Hall of Fame and won't be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, Smoke. You made your point?
Yes, that's it.
Great. Omar Narvaez will be. And it's not just because of his title defenses, it's who he fought. Those guys in the freaking cruiserweight division, which is a total dead division and has been since freaking Holyfield, it's reasons behind that. But Omar Narvaez, which I'm not going to sit here and run down his entire resume, Omar Narvaez, but he fought enough recognizable people during his title defense that's not going to make it just some flimsy defenses. You understand what I'm saying? Omar Narvaez.
Yeah, got it.
Right.
Yeah, no, I got you. All right, cool. Okay. On the same page. Let's go. Let's move.
All right, thank you. So, Nonito Donaire. So that's where we land. We're in 2019. It's after the Rodriguez fight. And Emmanuel Rodriguez, guys, again, he was undefeated as well. He was an undefeated fighter. And Monster went in there and he KO'd him in the second round. And then he has the fight, the biggest fight, and which is why I think he definitely deserves his spot in the top 5. And I don't care where you have him. I wouldn't put him at number 1 or 2. But wherever you have him in the top 5 outside of number 1 or 2, I think is valid. Is the win over Nonito Donaire. Because massive people thought Nonito Donaire was going to beat Monster Inoue. A lot of people thought he was going to beat him. And he went in there, and it was a tough fight. I mean, the guy showed heart. He showed grit. He showed everything. He got his freaking eye socket fractured, all of that, and he won the fight. So, to me, that validates him. That validated him for sure. I mean, I already had him, like, creeping up there anyway. And I said before then, if he wins against Nonito Donaire, I would have him, passing Usyk at the time. And going in there, and that's exactly where I have him now at number 4 over top of Usyk. So, Smoke, what do you think?
Yeah, like I said, an analysis of resumes definitely gives you a level of competition. Kind of talking about a pound for pound guy, but when you're talking about a pound for pound guy, you can't take skills out of it. And for me, Nonito Donaire is great, right? He's a great name, but like you were saying yesterday about Hasim Rahman and Chris Bird for Povetkin, or it wasn't yesterday, but the other day when we did this, we did the same exercise. Those are great names, right? You didn't say they were great. You didn't say how great they were at the time of the fight. And that's really what the issue is. The reason why Nonito Donaire, and before I even go into this, the World Boxing Super Series, I think we can all agree, is one of the best things that happened to boxing. Definitely since I've been watching it. It really is. Like the IBF coming into it, I wasn't mad. They were a great change. I really liked the IBF in the early days. This World Boxing Super Series to me is like the best thing since the IBF came aboard. The IBF since it's kind of fallen off, but World Boxing Super Series continues to delight and give us Fight of the Year candidates. The last series I think produced one. The series before that produced one. But anyway, on into Nonito Donaire, a great addition, one of the bigger names in the series. But Nonito Donaire was an underdog. He came in beating an undefeated guy also, but the undefeated guy was trash. So the idea that a guy is undefeated, Tom Schwartz was undefeated. Otto Wallin, who was undefeated. There was a cut, but that was really what the controversy in that cut was. So, that's a Tyson Fury reference for all who may not be aware. Yeah, undefeated doesn't mean so much. And going into the Burnett fight, Nonito Donaire, I believe, was an underdog in that fight. It only went like, I don't know, 4 rounds maybe. I don't remember, maybe 3 or 4 rounds. But in the short time that fight happened, Nonito Donaire was getting his ass whooped. And the guy just injured himself. So the fight before the the knockout that Nonito Donaire got, like Nonito Donaire wasn't supposed to get past that fight. So his days of being like a king and pound for pound, all that, were damn near a decade removed. So you can't take away the guy's accolades. He's definitely going to, he's going to do great things. I think he will be a Hall of Famer, but that's based on his work way before he actually ever entered the World Boxing Super Series. At that point, he definitely was I won't say he was a shell of himself, but he was not the Nonito Donaire that made Nonito Donaire famous. And that also brings me to my overall point about pound for pound and rushing these guys. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, you said that you talking about before he fought Naoya Inoue, his fights before Naoya Inoue?
Yeah, there are 2 fights in the World Boxing Super Series.
Okay, and what was you saying about the fights? I mean,
Young and Burnett, I was saying that Young was trash, was straight garbage. But he's a late replacement. Like there's any number of reasons to why the guy was trash, and I'm not hating on that part of it. And I can get into all that if you want, but the guy just wasn't a very high level of competition, right? So then the guy before that, Burnett, Nonito Donaire was not winning that fight. He was actually getting beat up pretty good, and it would look like Nonito Donaire had come to the end of his career in that Burnett fight. He bounced back with a confidence booster in Steve Young, and then he had the Nonito Donaire fight. And then before I even go into the Nonito Donaire fight with Monster, which was a great fight, like I said, Fight of the Year candidate, along with Derevchenko, Triple G.
Okay, hold on. I got you. I just wanted to make sure I was on the same page with you. Because to me, this is what happens sometimes with your breakdowns. It was the Ray Burns fight because I was trying to listen to you. You said that he was getting his ass kicked all through the fight. Now, I do remember Ray Burns had a back injury in that fight.
No, it was Burnett. His name was Burnett.
Ray Burnett had a back injury in that fight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He took a knee.
Yeah.
That's why the
fight stopped. He stopped. That's how the fight stopped. Yes, he got injured.
Right. Okay. But I remember the fight, and I don't see what you see now. By your description, if Donaire went into that fight and he was getting beat down until the guy got hurt, okay, what you saying makes sense. But if you saw the fight the way I saw the fight, if you also saw the fight the way, if I'm not mistaken, 2 judges were seeing that fight. Because when you say these things, it's coincidence. Maybe it's just coincidence that a lot of the people that don't agree with you or the fucking judges scoring that fight don't have it that way. Because he was up.
No, listen.
2 judges scorecards in that fight. While you're saying that he was getting his ass kicked until the injury. He was actually up by 2 judges scorecards in that fight. And I didn't get his ass kicked all over the ring either. And
cool.
That's why I stopped you right there.
Okay, cool. I can go look up whether or not the 2 judges had it or whatever the 2 judges had it. For me, listen. I got you, D. Hold on. I got it. I'm not saying that you're incorrect. I'm just saying that at this point, I can't look it up. For me, I'm going to tell you, I was a huge let me just finish. I'm a huge Nonito Donaire fan, so I might have been looking through it through my own biased eyes because I love the guy, right? That's it, right? So I'm giving you my breakdown, and if you need for me to clarify that point, I don't mind. I am a Nonito Donaire fan, huge. Have been for forever. He fought right out of here in San Francisco by homeboy Sparta, right?
All right, well, here it goes.
So,
here it goes. Hold on, Smoke. Since I want to make sure, Smoke, that So I looked it up. Judge Stefano Carrozza had it 37-38. Donaire. Ian John Lewis had it 37-38. Donaire, and Alex Murren had it 38-37 for Burnett.
It was a draw. It was a tie.
All right, cool.
So
no, that's a majority. That's a majority. That's a majority. That's a split decision for. That's a split decision for Donaire.
Hold on for a second.
Oh yeah.
Let me get this point. Let me get this. Yeah, that was a split for Donaire. But let me get this point out. My whole thing was this: if you explain it to people the way Smoke explained it to me, which is why I stopped him. Yeah, because in that fight he was getting his ass kicked all over the ring until the guy got injured, and then I would say, yeah, you're right. You got a good point there. But if he won't get his ass kicked all over the ring, which he clearly was not, then I can't go along with what the fuck you saying right now.
Yeah, Smoke says that a lot.
Oh, is that okay? I hear. Hey, listen, I got what you got. Okay, can I finish my breakdown? No, is this everyone jumping in because you don't like the point I made?
Go ahead.
Okay, cool, cool. Right? So,
hold on 1 second, Smoke. Listen, William, I have one rule here, bro. Add to the discussion. This is my second live. You came in here talking about please stop telling people you're not boxing. That is something that ain't allowed here, bro. No racism and none of this shit you're doing here. So this is the last time that you say this. Everybody here knows I ain't LDBC and never have been. So whatever y'all plot is with that shit, it ain't gonna work. And if this is what you're gonna continue to do, you will be removed from this channel. So don't do it again. All right, go ahead, Smoke.
All right, cool.
That was for you, Smoke. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Right. So before we're going into chopping up the Nonito Donaire Monster Inoue fight, I'd just like to point out what my issue is about having skills not be part of your pound for pound list. We've seen it with Nonito Donaire and Chocolatito when they're HBO guys, when they talked about how these guys are number one pound for pound, only to be exposed later on by more technically sound fighters that weren't anywhere on anybody's pound for pound. Right. So the issue that I have with Monster is the same thing. Right. Ironically enough, when we come to the Nonito Donaire fight. So that fight in and of it by itself was excellent. It was really, like I said, one of my favorite fights of 2019. Number 2, if not tied for number 1. But Nonito Donaire, if he was the Nonito Donaire of old, I think would have stopped Monster. The issue that I have with Monster, I think, showed up glaringly in the Donaire fight because Donaire was able to take a couple of his shots and tag that pinata chin that Monster has when he's throwing his hook and when he's throwing combos.
Okay, so I just got. Can I ask Smoke one question, please?
Yeah. Let's do this. Let's do this right quick. I want to come back to this. But let's wrap the topic up and then come back to this because I think we're gonna dig into this topic for a little while. So, just in your opinion, Battle Rifle. I don't know how long you've been in there, Carlos. I'm gonna let Carlos in right quick because Carlos. Okay, that ain't Carlos. Well, look, just by y'all opinion, do y'all think by what we discussed, and we get ready to go into further discussion, but what we discussed to this point, do you feel that it's fair that Inoue is considered top 5 on pound for pound list, or you think he should be outside of the top 5 on the pound for pound list? Battle Rifle, what you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. If you guys got him number 5.
All right, unbiased.
For sure, I got him at number 4. Definitely.
I got him at 4 too. Smoke.
I have him outside the top 5.
Okay, and everybody in the chat that's listening in, just let me know if you guys think that Monster Inoue should be in the top 5 or outside of the top 5. Just and now Smoke and Unbiased, you guys continue. Because I know we get ready.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm just gonna ask the whole panel, what do you guys think about Terrence Crawford's defense, and who else is in the top 5? So, I mean, for me, I got Canelo, and then I think that's between okay. So, how do you see Terrence Crawford's defense, and then also, how good is Errol Spence's defense?
Errol Spence's defense is mediocre. Okay,
and he on some people's list is top 5 pound for pound. Yet a lot of his.
Yeah, but you're talking about me. But you're talking about my criteria. So pound for pound is subjective to me. It's not about anybody else's. And Errol Spence's defense is better than Monster's. So yes, he's ahead of Monster.
No, that's not true.
Oh, come on.
Okay, Terrence Crawford actually knows how to throw a punch and protect his chin and tuck it and move his head off the center line. Monster hasn't learned that yet.
Is that why he got dropped?
Okay, so are you saying that technically sound fighters don't get dropped? That don't make no sense.
Okay. Well, there you go. Wait, no, D. Wait, D. Come on, let me get him, D. Come on, because he just said some bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, you can argue his technique. Go ahead.
No,
but you hate Wilder. Let make this make sense.
Hold on.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
Hold on, Smoke.
Take it one at a time, Smoke. One at a time.
Okay, because Smoke, you just said what? Technically sound fighters can't get dropped. Okay, Inoue, who is technically sound, has never been dropped, but he gets hit, right? So if you could be technically sound and get dropped, then you could be technically sound and get hit as well, especially when a guy is a Hall of Famer and has been timing that left hook his whole career.
Okay, so like you guys were making this huge point about about guys that just because you don't get dropped, and like I've heard you literally for the better part of 2 years run Wilder down because he's trash, his technique sucks, all of this stuff. Meanwhile, the guy's getting nothing but knockouts and not getting knocked down at all, right? But for some reason, right? So I said for years he hasn't been dropped. I said for this last 2 years he wasn't getting dropped. He's been. If you want to talk about his being dropped, you have to go back 10 years.
Okay.
Anyways, when Moss was 12 years old, right? I got you. That's because he's fighting amulets. That's why. But anyway, that's a different deal. That's a different. That's you're fighting these micro pugilists and talk about how they don't get dropped. Like I got it. One dude's in the heavyweight division. One dude's in the cool. He doesn't get dropped.
Go ahead.
Anyway, my point to you is there's a proper way to throw a shot. Right? The same way you've been bitching about Wilder this whole time. When you throw your punch, your non-punching hand should be protecting your chin. Your chin should be tucked behind your shoulder. You should take your head off a center line. You know what Monster does of those 3 things? 0. He's just in there. His head is high up. He's straight back. Like like when it comes to pound for pound, skills have come to play. Not just whether or not you have a granite chin, getting punched about a bunch of little kid weights. Like. Nah, it doesn't work for me.
Man. Okay, so I just want to point out that a lot of boxers have a tendency to drop their hand as they throw punches. And I literally could pull up multiple pictures of Canelo doing it, Crawford doing it, Errol Spence doing it, Floyd Mayweather doing it, Andre Ward doing it. So your point of you need to keep your hand tucked. Well, yeah, of course they need to, but it's a tendency that all boxers do. So to shit on Inoue for doing it.
Right.
So I'm not done.
Sorry, go ahead.
So to shit on solely Inoue for doing it, and I just gave you a whole list. If you want, we could pull up pictures. We could do that later on a live or something where I could show you that these guys have dropped their hand while they're throwing a punch. We could do that. But I already did it with Canelo. I already did that in the hangout when I showed you multiple pictures with Canelo with his hand dropped. And he's not even protecting his face, and he's throwing a punch. So
you showed one picture, and that's not multiples. And then also you tried to show one with Monster where he's protecting his chin, but he's not. He's preparing to throw a punch. Like really, the issue isn't whether or not he's dropping his hands. As I said, his chin is in the air, and he doesn't move his head off center line. So yeah, while a guy is about to throw a punch, his hand isn't when he's throwing a combo. Maybe Canelo does that. You can find a picture of Canelo. Now, if you can find me a picture of Monster ever covering his chin while he's throwing a hook, that would be great. I'm not talking about features. I'm not even talking about 1/3 of it. The point of dropping his hands. It's an entire thing when it comes to proper technique when throwing a punch, being defensively responsible, right? Like it's an entire deal, and this guy doesn't have it. So when it comes to being a complete fighter, he's not it to me. I don't have non-complete fighters in my top 5 pound for pound. There's Manny Pacquiao still out there. Errol Spencer's out there. Canelo Alvarez is out there. Lomachenko's out there. Terence Crawford's out there. So for me, let me finish. So let me finish. Monster Inoue, at his technique is not better than any of those guys.
So, I'm not going to ask Smoke because I already know what Smoke's going to say. Let me ask Battle and D, how, the guy, Manny Pacquiao, in his fights, does he or does he not get tagged a lot? I mean, I love Manny, but he gets hit very often. I think the criteria of if you don't have your hand glued to your face as you're throwing a hook, then you can't meet a requirement of a pound for pound is kind of ludicrous when almost everybody we mentioned has that same tendency. Okay,
no, none of them have that same tendency. Not a single one of those guys. First off, I didn't say tendency. I said the man can't do it. I said, know how you keep parsing my argument. It's not okay. First off, Monster Inoue's signature punch is a left hook, right? So that guy not protecting his chin is going to be a problem. Outside of that punch, his other part of it is throwing combinations. His 2 main offensive goals have the huge defensive glaring lapses in them. When it comes to, I don't understand how this is a picking and choosing thing. When it came to Wilder, it was all about how he had improper technique. But he was having results. Listen, the only reason I put Pacquiao on my number 5 really was off of his last performance, where he did show the best defense I've seen him have in his entire career, with his head feints, with his body movement, with his to me, he improved massively. He wasn't always this guy. He hasn't always been in my right.
So can I say something? Okay, so I was in the comments and I was hearing you talk about your ratings and what. If you can always stop me if I'm saying something you didn't say. You were saying that there's some parts of the pound for pound that you thought that people weren't looking at. And you went into the skill set.
Okay,
so are you saying that?
I'm gonna stop you. That's not what I said.
Okay, go ahead.
I just said that skills have always been part of the profound conversation.
Yeah. Basically, you're saying that in a way, if I'm getting this right, shouldn't be in your top 5 pound for pound because you don't think he's a complete fighter. Like, you can stop me, but is that what you're saying? In your opinion?
I think that yes. In my opinion, his defensive proficiency make him an incomplete fighter. He needs to get that game up before I think of him as a complete fighter. The same thing with Teofimo Lopez, by the way.
But wouldn't it be more fair to say that? Maybe I've been doing my pound for pound list wrong, but wouldn't it be more fair to go off resume, just to say, just in a sense, be like that pound for pound? Because
he doesn't. No, he doesn't do that. No.
That's not the way. The issue is the way pound for pound lists have traditionally been talked about. And they've traditionally been talked about in terms of a guy's skill level being able to translate through divisions, right? Him being that good. And you can use resume on whether or not, when it comes to level of competition, that validates that skill set. But the resume doesn't actually it doesn't overtake the skill set. It's not all of a sudden it's just resumes, because then why isn't Leo Santa Cruz there? Why isn't
Hold on, Smoke. Hold on. Smoke said, and I think everybody in the chat heard him. Smoke said, show me a picture where he's protecting his chin.
You could find a lot.
While throwing a hook. I said while throwing a hook.
He's throwing a hook right there.
That is he throwing a hook.
He's throwing a hook.
Protecting his chin. Stop your foolishness. Stop it.
Okay, let's see it. Show it to. Listen, that's not foolishness. I asked him to show it because you know what? I'm biased. Listen, dude, you're jumping into a conversation that Unbiased and I were having somewhere else. He showed me a picture. He showed a bunch of pictures. What we're talking about. So I'm asking Unbiased to show me one of those pictures, not D, but whatever D. You can show me the picture. I'm dying to see it. Cool. I don't see it. I don't see it just yet. But come on. Hold up.
Your words was show me a picture where he's throwing a hook and protecting his chin. It's
right there.
It's right there for you.
I'm good. Okay, I'm looking. Hey, hold up, dude. I don't see it. Don't see it. I see it. I don't. All I see is your thing. I don't see it. Yo, I don't see it. Can you just hold up?
Smoke. Okay,
no, it's not that.
You don't want to hear the logic that we give to you. You don't want none of that. The only thing that you want is to believe what Smoke wants to believe, bro. We can smack you in the goddamn face with it sometimes.
Okay, bro, like, I got it because you love to take that. Listen. Okay, again, D, you're jumping into a conversation that was already happening. Unbiased has already showed it, but listen, Unbiased had already.
No. I jumped into something that I just heard on my live. And I heard you say on this live, and everybody else in that freaking chat heard this. Don't try to turn it around on me. You said clearly, and everybody in the panel tell me if I'm wrong. You said clearly, show me a picture where he's throwing a hook and protecting his chin. Everybody in the chat and on the panel, did I not just put a picture up showing him that?
You did. Yeah.
Because that's what the fuck.
Look, but before Smoke comes back, wait.
Hold on for a second. That's my specialty, and I always brag on this. Unbiased, and you know I do. I know what the fuck goes on in that ring, and I knew I seen them doing it. So while you was yapping, I found the picture that you said to show you. I don't care about no context and no other conversation. I did what you said to do on this live right here. That's what I did for you, Smoke. Now go ahead.
Wait, no, there's no hold up. He just said a whole bunch of stuff to me. Hold up. D, was I talking to you when I said that?
No, you talking on my live.
No, but was I talking to you? Did I ask you to show me a picture?
No.
Why does that matter?
Exactly. I asked Unbiased to do it. You know what? You know why I asked Unbiased to do it?
Why?
Because we were already having this conversation where they were showing a bunch of pictures. So when Unbiased said he showed me a picture, I said he did not. Instead, he showed me a picture of him not doing it. So I was asking Unbiased to show me a picture of him doing it. Okay? I wasn't talking to the chat. I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to Unbiased.
Okay, but there's the picture right there. So
I got you. Now, thank you. Thank you. We've already did, like, it's not like the issue wasn't about whether or not a picture exists. Like I said, it was about what the pictures that he showed me show.
Right. Okay, I got that.
And
he was his point was, and he showed pictures.
Nobody get a fucking word in. We got you. We know what his point was. We get that. And you asked Unbiased. I'm asking you this, Smoke. It's clear, bro. Stop. Calm down.
Well, can I ask you guys something real quick?
Hold on about. Do you agree, Smoke, that was a hook being thrown and his chin being protected? I just want to know, do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay, thank you. Now y'all go ahead.
So I just want to ask real quick. Okay, let me just ask a question real quick, Smoke, before let me just ask something. All right. So when you say complete fighter, I just want to ask you guys, like, a complete fighter in your guys' opinion, can they fight on the back foot? That's the D, Smoke, Battle. Like, a complete fighter, can they fight on the back foot?
I'm sorry, what was that?
They should be able to.
Yeah.
They should be able to, yes.
A complete fighter should be able to fight on the back foot.
No. If you're asking me, can you be a complete fighter without being able to fight on the back foot? I'm gonna say yes.
You can.
Yeah, because you can, but you should be able to. But sure, yes.
You can, yeah.
Yeah.
But then, are you really a complete fighter? Because if somebody pushes you back and you don't know how to fight on the back foot, then how are you complete?
That's a good. Good point.
I'll tell you. Okay. So I think this is the issue. When I say skills, I'm also attributing this to how you win a fight. So I'm talking about clean, hard punching, ring generalship, effective aggression, defense. Right? That's why I say defense is a thing, because that's actually how you score a fight. But fighting off the back foot isn't that. I mean, it could be that, but it's not necessarily that.
You're talking about scoring. I'm just saying what makes a complete fighter.
Always single to Smoke. Like, you can't do this, or I don't consider this. Like,
but pound for pound are subjective lists.
Hold on, Smoke. Let somebody else talk without being interrupted. Like we try to let you do it, you keep interrupting. Look, you can't sit here and say that I look at it like this, I look at it like this, and I look at it like this. But with other people's criteria, it doesn't make sense, bro. Like, because some of the things that you say don't make sense. But if that's your criteria, okay, that's fine. That's your criteria. But it has to be fair across the board. You can't say that I don't consider this guy pound for pound because of lack of defense, but then you got a fighter that you consider the best thing smoking and he can't even fight off the back foot. Like, that's really pretty much what Unbiased is getting off of. Like, your criteria only fits your argument, it seems like.
No, listen, I don't care I don't care what people have Monster, but my issue is the metrics that they're using. If you only use resume and not use skills, then to me, that is a subversion of where pound for pound has historically been. Right. Well, that's it. That's really all I'm saying. Like, whoever, like, why you have people on there, that's on you. That's your pound for pound is subjective. But I'm not saying mine is better than yours. I'm just saying it's not tethered to the history and the tradition of the term. That's all.
Well, here's the thing, Smoke.
Look, Sean. What's up, Sean? If a guy pushes you back, you get beat, not complete. So that was about a guy being able to push you back on the back foot. If a guy pushes you back and you get beat, then you're not a complete boxer.
You might have to clarify that, Sean.
I don't. Why does that have to be clarified? I get it. What about?
Because you can push a guy back and get knocked out. It doesn't equal. But just pushing a guy back doesn't equal getting beat.
Wait. If a guy pushes you back, you get beat. You're not complete. So he didn't say if a guy pushes you back and the guy beats you, motherfucker. That's not what he said. I'm saying the way he has it written here. He's saying that you're not a complete boxer if you're getting beat because you're getting pushed back and you cannot win. The guy, see, the reason this is what
but the issue is something else is. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Dude, damn, thank you, bro. This is what I was trying. Yeah, it is clear, Sean. It's clear to me. This is what I was saying. I get what Sean is saying. It's clear. But that's why I was saying that if you're a guy who's getting pushed back, right? And you're not really the greatest off your back foot, but you have other things that you can do that although you're not the greatest fighting off the back foot, there's other things that you can do to get out, slide around, use angles. You understand what I'm saying? And continue to fight and win, then you're still a complete fighter to me. Because even though you lack the ability to fight off your back foot, you can do other things to still win that fight. But in this example of what Sean is saying, which is totally clear to me, if a guy pushes you back, you get beat, you're not complete, bro. Like,
okay, so here's the issue. Here's the issue. The guy who is pushing you back may be better on his front foot. You're assuming about the proficiency level of the guy pushing you back. If you're getting pushed back by an all-time great Hall of Famer, does that mean you're not a complete fighter just because he's pushing you back? I'm assuming that this is connected to ring generalship, right? Or an effective aggression. That's what I'm assuming about this whole pushing back thing, right?
Yeah,
so right.
So he's not talking about a single fight. He's talking about is this what you do if you show this fight after fight. He's not talking about no isolated fight. So if you're making
right. So like, no, I mean, I got it. Okay. Right, but there's stuff that you need to assume that needs to clarify that's not in what he just said. Right. So it's not just in Apple. So if you're just saying that is a tendency, if this guy cannot fight off the back foot, then that definitely affects your ring generalship and your effective aggression. But like, as you said, if you can actually offset that with other skills, then the fact that you're not great off the back foot, it's still a hole in your game.
I think this conversation,
but people who are complete fighters have holes in their game. That doesn't mean they're not complete fighters. Here's
the thing.
Let's not get it twisted. If you want a perfect fucking fighter, okay, say, well, I want a perfect fighter. Can fight off the back foot, got the hand speed, got this. Ain't no fucking perfect fighters. But don't tell me that a guy's not a complete fighter because he lacks an attribute or he lacks something. If he makes it up in other areas, he's a complete fighter. That's my whole point. I don't give a fuck if it's back foot, if it's angles, if it's feints. I don't care what it is. If he lacks one thing, but he picks it up in other areas, he's a complete fighter. Don't tell me he's not.
Yeah, I mean, I get you. The issue with pound for pound is it's on the curve. So the issue is, does he offset whatever he does better than these other guys?
He's winning every fucking.
Because everybody's got flaws. All boxers have flaws. All boxers have flaws.
And that's what I was trying to say.
The question is whether it's relative to the other guys on the list.
You have to be able to adapt. That's a great point, Sean. So my thing is this: if you're winning, you have Hall of Famers on your resume. You have former champions, 2-time multi-division champions on your resume. Then yes.
Here's my thing. Look,
one thing that you lack is not gonna say you're not a complete fighter, because you're in the ring, you're doing everything else besides this one thing that guy's complaining about you can't do. So you're still a complete fighter.
Here's my thing, and I think a lot of people get muddy.
It depends on what that one thing is. Like if the one thing is pushing you back, that's one thing. But if the one thing is defense, like if the other thing is defense, if you lack defense,
okay, let me move again. Let me move again, because this is your claim. You're not seeing this guy. You're saying he's awful at defense, this, that, and the third. Show me one picture, and I know you were saying it to him biased, but now you're talking to me. I told you in the beginning, because I do film study, Smoke. I'm not the average dodo head out here, casual boxing fan. I do film study. And I told you when you first started saying that I don't fucking agree with this great lack of defense that you're putting on this guy. So when you said, because I disagree when I first heard you say that he has this awful lack of defense. So as soon as I heard you say, show me a picture where he's throwing a hook and protecting his chin, I went and found it for you, because I never agreed with you from the beginning that he had this crazy lack of defense that you claim he does. Now, if a guy did have the amount of lack of defense that you're claiming Monster has, then maybe I would tend to agree with you about that guy. But that guy is not Monster. And here's one picture from D. Jefferson to you to prove that you're not actually speaking facts with your claims about him being so terrible with his defense. Your claims are incorrect. He is not as bad with his defense as you're making him out to be. If he was that bad with his defense, then you would have a point. But because he's not as bad as you're trying to make him out to be defensively, you don't have a point.
Okay, so I just put a link in the chat. I can't go backstage because of my phone and all that stuff, but I just put a link in the chat from Unbiased video about Monster torturing his opponents. And if you think what I'm saying has no merit, then why don't you just give that video a run? It's more than just one photo, right? Since the whole thing about one photo was an actual private conversation between Unbiased and I, that started with a chain that he's.
All right, Smoke, I'm not going to do this. I get the Unbiased reference, bro. I don't want to keep going back to Unbiased, because now this is a discussion between you and I. What I'm telling you right now, forget about the Unbiased thing. What I'm telling you right now is, from the beginning on this live, when you started talking about how defensively irresponsible Monster is, I never agreed with that. And I told you that when you first said that. I get the whole Unbiased thing.
Cool. I got no, but you did.
That's why I want to get my whole words out without you doing that. So I get all of that about Unbiased. This is a discussion between you and I now. Unbiased has nothing to do with that. And your claims about Monster Inoue being so defensively irresponsible are not accurate, bro. And you've not validated them. I don't want you to keep running back to what you were saying about Unbiased and all of that. I want you to validate somehow to us your claims about this dude being super defensively responsible, because I can validate how he is not. You can't just throw that claim at him without validating how he is defensively irresponsible. And you and Unbiased's argument has nothing to do with that. The picture that I'm showing you has a little bit to do with my validation for saying that he's not as defensively irresponsible as you're claiming. I don't care about the Unbiased stuff. Let's talk about the claims of defensive irresponsibility that you're putting out there. That's what I'm attacking. I don't care about the Unbiased stuff. This picture right here, this picture here, This goes against your claims of him being so defensively irresponsible. That's why I put this picture up. It had nothing to do with the unbiased talk or none of that. You said he was defensively irresponsible. This picture says bullshit. That's where I'm coming.
Okay. Okay, cool. You got your 4 thoughts out, and you repeated them. Okay, just your 4 thoughts 5 times. Can I at least get one thought out? Can I at least get one thought out? Can I at least get one thought out without you interrupting me and kicking me backstage? Let me can I cook? Because I have something to say about all of the stuff all of your points that you make. I'm trying to actually make points to you and have a conversation, but I can't do it if you just keep going and kicking me back and interrupting and all that stuff. I already addressed your picture. I addressed your picture. I started off by saying in the chat, I put a link to a video from Unbiased that Unbiased made, right, about Monster Inoue. And in this video, it is a highlight video of him knocking people out. You will see what I'm talking about time and time again throughout many fights, not just a single person, not just a single moment in a fight, but over several fights against several opponents, right? That's what you're going to see.
No,
if you hit the link on the video, that's what I'm saying. If you're saying that my claims are false, here is validation for what I was saying about Monster Inoue's horrific defense, defensive responsibility when he's throwing his hook and also when he's throwing combinations. Right, it's right there. I can't put it backstage because of the technology that I'm using right now.
We got it. Stop it. Hold on. Stop it. We got it. Bullshit still, because the clip, dog, I do editing too. The clip that Unbiased put together is highlighting his knockouts, not his fights. So when you look through those fights, he is constantly throwing up his right hand that you claim. When guys are going to finish guys out, when guys are going in to knock guys out, finishing them, they got them hurt on a lot of highlight reels. You don't see guys being defensively responsible. You see them going for the kill, for the knockout, because they got their opponents down and ready to be.
Okay,
hold on, Smoke.
I got it.
That's why you be going backstage. That's why you be going backstage, because you can't shut the fuck up when I'm talking, bro. So when guys are doing that, when guys are just going in there, that's the clip that Unbiased got out. So you're not going to be able to validate your point that way. You're going to be able to validate your point by going to watch fights, by going to do film study on fights. And if you do film study on Monster Inoue fights, not watch a clip of highlight knockouts, you're not going to be able to determine if he's irresponsible defensively watching clips of highlight knockouts. You're going to have to do film work on his fights. And when you do film work on his fights, you will not be validated at all. Your claims of him being so terrible defensively. You will have no validation when not no fucking clips that Unbiased put up of highlight knockouts. You can't determine it that way. So stop it.
Okay, D. Here's the thing. Let's see if I can get through this whole thought without you interrupting me or kicking me backstage. All right. Firstly, like I said, this is what he does when he throws hooks multiple times without going into his highlights, without looking at the clip. Can you stop prejudging it and just and saying what the action is and just look at the action and see if what I say has any merit? The issue about you jumping into a conversation about Unbiased and I and then having your own take on it is now you've just unvalidated what you just said about my video about your photo, right? Because if I can't tell that he's not defensively responsible from a video, I certainly can't tell he's defensively responsible from a photo, right? So this entire thing.
All right, bro. This is it. That's enough for this, because I didn't even really want that on the show. This shit is over with. First off, I already explained that, Smoke, so we ain't gonna do that shit back and forth. You said show me a picture, bro. Show me a picture of him throwing a hook and protecting his chin. And I explained this. Because you say he's so defensively irresponsible, as soon as I heard you say that, I went and found this picture. And I told you, you said you weren't going to keep going back to Unbiased, and you keep going back to that damn video, bro. So it's no need for us to continue this conversation, bro. Listen, the point is this. Validate, not off of Unbiased's videos, somehow yourself, that this man is defensively irresponsible. Because that's, from what we've seen, like nobody's agreeing on this shit, bro. Like from what we see, we don't see this guy that is fucking dominate Brazil or some bobblehead that you talking about. Like he has no defensive responsibility. We don't see that. You're the one who's saying that he's so defensively irresponsible that it takes from him being on pound for pound, which means he would pretty much, with all the accomplishments and how great he is offensively, he would have to be basically trash defensively to not be considered on pound the way you're talking about it, bro. Like he has no defensive skills at all. That has to be validated. And I don't want to keep going back to
understand.
Unbiased made, because when you look at this guy overall, not one picture that I have up or not one video that Unbiased has made, you're going to need more than both of them.
Can I say something real quick?
About and my picture. You're going to need to do film study. I have done predictions on this guy before with Champ Ross in the league, so I've had to do film study on him. And this defensive responsible shit that you're claiming is just not true, bro. It's not true. You can sit up here and claim somebody is superiorly or so deficient defensively. You can say that, but that don't mean it has to be true. And from what I've seen from Monster Inoue, that's not true what you're saying, that he's so defensively irresponsible. He keeps his chin open all the time. Because you did say all the time, bro.
You mind if I...
His chin open this time right here?
You mind if I say something real quick?
Do you guys see his chin open? Yes, I do. I see a guy slipping a punch, and if he threw his actual right hand, he'd get clipped. But that's a different thing. If I, on a scale of 1, listen, on a scale of 1 to 10, D, I put Monster Inoue's defense at a 5. I put Errol Spence's at a 7.
Okay.
You mind if I say something, DCS?
Go ahead.
Okay, so here's the thing. I think B-Face in the comments summarized it perfectly. I don't agree with your second comment, though, B-Space. You know, that's a good one, but I think Canelo just a little bit better defensively. But he said that, you know, they're, if I'm reading it verbatim, sorry about that, hold up a second. It's just this phone. I think people don't understand that
different styles have to use different types of defenses due to differences in their position, and that's the fact.
Right. So the fact of the matter is that there are gonna be people, because I want to make 2 points. There are gonna be people that are gonna be not as defensively responsible as others. I can't really go and say that this person isn't a better guy because he doesn't he doesn't, in a sense, you do the things that this other guy does. I think Naoya Inoue or Lomachenko are probably a better fighter pound for pound than Rigo is. But will I say they're defensively responsible as Rigo? No, I wouldn't say that. That's not true. I don't believe that. The fact of the matter is, I would take those skills and I would look at their resume and say who they beat, which is why I said this conversation will get very muddled, because if we're going off really what we see, there's a lot of things that our eyes can deceive us with, because we're going off the eye test. That's what we're doing. And essentially, I was trying to make the second point, which when you go off the pound for pound, which when it was originally created, it was going by a guy who already had great defenses, great people on his resume already. So it's really hard, because a lot of people say pound for pound means that you can beat another guy related to another weight class. But the fact of the matter is, the pound for pound list was made for a guy who had already beat numerous people with great resumes before he even got on that list. That's the fact of the matter is. So a lot of people will. That's why I said the ring. The pound for pound status, in my opinion, needed to be changed. It needed to fit a certain criteria, which is why I usually go out resumes. But you can, debate that. What do you know? That's why I say I feel like the pound for pound, the way we create it and the way we judge people who goes in, it needed to be changed, because when it was originally created, it was created already for a guy who already had great skills and already beat amazing competition.
I don't understand
the issue battle rifle. Oh, sorry. The issue battle rifle is that pound for pound, while Sugar Ray Robinson is the guy that popularized it, the phrase actually predates SugarRay Robinson, and it applied to a few other
Benny Leonard. Benny Leonard already had great.
The issue is when they were talking about those guys.
Shut the fuck up, D, man. You don't know shit about boxing, bro. You're cool with Johnny Boy, bro. That says everything about you and your character, bro. Man, fuck out of here, D, bro. You a bitch.
Anyway, finish the GTS.
Right, Right. So the issue is when they were talking about all of those three guys, the guys before, they were talking about their skills. It wasn't just, hey, they beat all these guys. So to actually take out what the phrase has been, what is meant all the way up until now, and just distill it to the idea of an analyzation of resumes, that seems to be a dishonor to the actual idea and the spirit of that the list was created in.
But you understand like the problem with that, Smoke. The fact of the matter is they can validate their skills off his success. When it comes to it, if we want to go off just going off who we think can beat heavyweights if they were to apply the proper adjustments, we'll go off the eye test all day. That's the problem. I think that's why the pound for pound thing, the definition or the criteria needed to be changed. If we're just going off what we see and whom we think can beat somebody based on how they look in their certain fights, we would just be going off the eye test, which is why I think that it's flawed to just go off that.
Right now, it's not a false dichotomy. It's not an either or. It's both. It's both things. It's not just look at the resume and then ignore the skills. No, it's not just look at the skills and ignore the resume. It's both things.
It is both things. You're right. You're right. It is.
Hold on for a second. I agree with that viewpoint, and that's my problem. That's why these pound for pound lists are so subjective, because I don't go all the way one way or the other. A lot of historians go on resumes, who you beat and stuff like that. And then you got a lot of analysts and stuff that go on attributes, like what you can do in the ring and how you perform. But I think, like I would Smoke, I think it should be a combination of both, because I don't care if, you got this guy, well, he's beat this guy, he's beat that guy, he's beat that guy. Floyd's beat a lot of guys, but how much questions do we get because of when he beat the guy? So we can't go solely off a resume. We also got to go off what they can do in the ring, how they made guys look in the ring, how easily or how tumultuous their fights was when they had these wins. All of that stuff has to play a factor in it when I consider pound for pound. I don't just go off one or the other. I'm like, not just one way or the other way. I think all of that stuff has to be accounted for.
That's a good point, D. Jefferson. Now let's say this. Now, of course, I'm pretty sure in your YouTube, run, when you had the channel, you probably met, some hardcore Loma fans. Now, what if a Loma fan said that, I think Lomachenko should be pound for pound #1 over Terence Crawford or Canelo? Now, what, and in their mind, they have just as good a defense or just as complete fighters as them two. Now, what would you say about that? Do you think that, the resume supersedes Lomachenko's for Canelo and Crawford, or is it their skills? Like, if you were to disagree, like, what would you say that supersedes that? You still there, D?
Oh, I thought you was talking to Smoke.
No. Like I'm saying, like, if somebody said that in their eyes, their skills or their defense, they're just as complete as fighter as Canelo or Terence Crawford. What would you say, like, to supersede them? Would it be their resume? Would it be? Do you think his skills is better? What would you say?
I mean, again, with me, I would factor in all of it. Like, I'm not just going to factor in one thing. Like, okay, so, like, let's take Terence Crawford. For example. A lot of people assume that, or you hear people talk about, well, he ain't even going to be able to hit Crawford just like that in the third. Like, Crawford's some super defensive fighter, right? But what Crawford does sometimes offensively is when you try to fire off or when you go into counter or capitalize off of a certain movement he makes, he'll hit you with a few punches. He'll hit you in between before you can get off or get into any rhythm. Now, that's not a defensive move, but that still keeps you from hitting him, so that's defensive. So he utilizes defense through his offense. You understand what I'm saying? But is he a defensive specialist? Like, so I have to factor everything in, bro. Because no, he don't use the best footwork or head movement or upper torso movement all the time, but hitting a guy in between him trying to strike and disrupting what he's trying to do is offense, but also defense, is it not? So we have to consider everything. Like, just a guy like me, I consider everything. I factor everything in. I don't think this supersedes that or that supersedes that, because what if you have strengths in this area, but you're weak in that area? A resume would probably display strengths in a certain area, right? But then in the ring, you might not see it. Faces a certain opponent, but your resume displays strengths in that area. You gotta factor everything in, bro. That's all. And supersedes anything. You gotta.
Well, this is the thing, D. Jefferson. You probably don't need to clarify. This is just me going off what I thought it should go by. I know a lot of people, they don't like to say there's things are things are more important than the other. I just usually like to say that, you know, resume just, you know, that's our telling for how good the fighter is or where he's going to be in a certain point of time. And that's how I usually look at it. That's all I'm just saying.
So I kind of dropped off and I didn't get to finish my whole sentiment. And, you know, listen, I don't go by this. I think like how I do pound for pound, every fighter is different, right? Now, Smoke said that you have to be a complete fighter. And in my opinion, to be a complete fighter, you need to fight at all ranges and you need to know how to fight on the back foot, or have shown that you could fight on the back foot. And I don't go by this, but going by the standards of, okay, you have to be a complete fighter to be on pound for pound list. The one fighter that we have not seen fight on the back foot that is on a pound for pound list is Lomachenko. We have not seen him fight on the back foot consistently through. No, he wasn't. He was bringing it to Gary. I thought he was whooping Gary's ass completely. So I didn't really see him fight on the back foot in that fight. I saw Gary just get beat up.
I mean, I'm sure he did, but you know, go ahead. No,
Mr. Two Hands, we were talking about in the sense of whether he should be top 5 pound for pound. Some people say he shouldn't. Some people say he is. But the question was only top 5 pound for pound. That's it, bro.
Man, shut the fuck up, D. Man, you know.
I just keep getting back in. Anyway, I think D. Jefferson, a good thing to say is, if you want to make a fair list.
So wait, can I just finish though? Let me just finish so I can bring it all together real quick. All right, so you know, Lomachenko has not shown me.
DMV, dog.
Lomachenko has not shown me he could fight on the back foot throughout a whole entire fight. Inoue showed me he could do that. Inoue has shown me he could fight at all ranges. However, obviously, I think that Lomachenko is a pound for pound fighter, because the way I base pound for pound fighters is everybody's different stylistically. Now, you could be different stylistically, but your style, if it translates through different divisions and you use your style to dominate and beat down the other opponent, then to me, that's pound for pound. You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't got to fight the same. You know what I'm saying? So I think Lomachenko is definitely a pound for pound fighter.
So, right. So the issue isn't, right, the standard is complete, right? But pound for pound is on a curve. It's not that only the guy who is a complete fighter is the pound for pound. It's that your standard is the complete fighter, and you see who best meets that standard. And then you make your list based on that, right? So it's not so much that guy is not, or a fighter doesn't have flaws. Like Lomachenko's a better fighter. A timing guy should be able to figure that out. Like, you know, every style can be undone. That's not the issue. That's not really the issue. The difference between being a complete fighter and then being a master, right? So then you can make all the adjustments throughout the fight that you need to make. To me, that's a different level of proficiency.
But then when we look out through somebody like Terrence Crawford, who definitely has defensive efficiencies. We saw him get dropped versus Mean Machine, whereas Inoue has shown defensive deficiencies versus a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I mean, yeah, you could say he drops his hand sometimes, but Terrence Crawford leaves the pocket at points with his hands down completely. You know, so if you're gonna say that Inoue should keep his hands tucked, then you should definitely say about Terrence Crawford. However, I think Terrence Crawford is definitely a pound for pound fighter, and he's shown it. So.
And I would definitely say that Terrence Crawford is levels more defensively responsible than Monster Inoue. Like to try to equivocate.
Hey, hold on, guys. Hold on. Let Raider, because that motherfucker ain't said shit. Smoke keep getting mad at me because I keep stopping him, and Let Raider get in this conversation, man. Let him get at least one.
I had that thought a long time ago. Go ahead, man.
What's up, man? What's cracking, my boys? How's it going?
What's up, Raider? What's good with you, fam?
What up, Raider?
What's up? Nah, I just interesting conversation. You know, I mean, I think me, Smoke and Unbiased were talking about it last time. I think that Inoue is kind of irresponsible in certain sequences, especially when he's throwing hard body shots, and especially when they're in between combinations. But I mean, that's just a sequence. Doesn't mean you're totally not fucking you don't have no defense. You know, it's just a certain sequence that I see in him. But also too, I mean, you don't need to have your hands up to have defense. I mean, look at Canelo. Doesn't even when he's coming forward, sometimes he just moves his head, slipping punches.
His hands are down completely.
Yeah, so you don't really need your hands up to have defense. But yeah, man, I mean, is he on the pound for pound list? I have him at number 4. But I mean, you know what I mean? There's everybody has their own pound for pound list and their own reasons, you know. Smoke has his own, and you know, I mean, that's cool. I mean, Bias has his own ways. Everybody has their own ways. So trying to change somebody else's mind, I mean, I don't know, that's on you guys, but I mean, I have my own shit, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of hard to try to change somebody else's mind on their pound for pound list.
Well, here's the thing.
You're
Raider,
not gonna change Smoke's mind. That's a fact.
Here's the thing, Raider. Like this is what I'm saying. I think if people come here because more than likely they feel that D. Jefferson knows his boxing, and I'm guessing a good portion came because they felt that he was unbiased. So I'm saying if we're gonna make a top 10 list and grade it off, a certain criteria to where the fact it's not biased, because if it was just biased, we could just say our favorite prospect is number 1 pound for pound. But the fact of the matter is that we're going off a certain level of criteria, which is a certain thing like the skills, the eye test, the resume and the recent fights. And if you put Inoue outside of that list, then you're kind of being biased as far as top 10.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. But I mean,
let me respond to this right quick. On Psalm 123, you must have just joined the live because we're getting toward the end of it. The whole live was actually going over Inoue's resume. Now, the first thing you said was, for me, he has the worst resume in the pound for pound list. So, Assam, first I'm gonna ask you this: who on the pound for pound list, or top 5 we talking about, has 2 potential Hall of Famers outside of Canelo?
Nobody.
No one. But Monster Inoue does. So with that right there, that makes your statement incorrect, sir.
10 title defenses.
Hall of Famers on his resume already. And nobody else in that top 5, which, thank you, Obama, just cleared that up, besides Canelo, has that. That's
who's the second guy? Neves?
Hey,
Neves, yeah.
I got a question for Smoke. Hey, Smoke.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, so I know you base it on skills, right? Like to see if you're
not
better
solely,
fighter
not
than
solely.
another
It's a combination.
Yeah,
it's a combination of the two. It's skill and resume.
What about Wilder? He's not a complete fighter, so you can't have him on the top heavyweight list.
I know why.
Pound for pound, he doesn't really have heavyweights.
Well, I don't have any heavyweights on my pound for pound.
No. I'm talking about pound for pound. I'm talking about just in the heavyweight list. I mean, if another fighter is more complete than you are, should it be high?
Right, but no. A pound for pound. So a pound for pound list is about division. About across divisions, excluding the heavyweights. So now, if you just want to go into an inter heavyweight thing, the issue about that is these guys aren't fighting each other. Right, so you can't make a determination over who's really the best. Even the number of top 15 guys who've actually squared off against each other is at like a all-time low. Like it's just hard to do a division. It's hard to rate a division of guys who don't fight each other.
Yeah, one of the metrics in doing pound for pound is how you do against other divisions, you know, and other weight classes. That should be, you know what I mean. But and also too, I mean, it doesn't mean like, oh, Pacquiao has 8 divisions. It doesn't mean like he should be number 1, because it should be current. You know, like how many weight classes can you move up and down at this particular moment? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I got it. Yeah, the degree of difficulty, like what I saw from Pacquiao in the Thurman fight, he wasn't like high on my list from Broner and Matisse. Like it was the Thurman fight and what I saw him do in the Thurman fight, right?
Which is why
and just like the same thing with Monster, just the same thing with Monster. Like Monster in his last fight jumped several spaces. He's now like in my top 10 somewhere, but you know, he's just not in my top 5. That's all.
Yeah. Now, what about Spence? He can't move up. He hasn't moved up in any divisions yet. So
at all.
Right, I know. I got it, because that's the issue. That's the whole deal about whether or not you move up a division means that automatically you're pound for pound, because guess who's not there? Leo Santa Cruz.
No, yeah, I see what you're saying. But I mean, he had Leo Santa Cruz also, his resume is not as good as some of these top 5s. You know what I mean? Mikey Garcia also, he has 4 divisions. And I mean, I have him in my top 10, but I don't have him in my top 5. But,
right. I mean, and that's one of the reasons why Spence is there for me, is that he actually beat a pound for pound guy.
You talking about Mikey?
Yeah. Wait.
You talking about Mikey?
Yo, D, can you look at that thing in the private chat with the picture of Floyd? I just want to show, get the smoke, that picture, since he has such a, you know, he wants to nitpick in a way.
I'm not nitpicking you away. You're nitpicking my argument. Actually, what I said was the dude has his chin in the air, doesn't tuck it when he throws his left hook and he throws combinations. But instead, you have distilled this into a tendency and people dropping their hands and stuff. That's actually not what I'm saying at all. But whatever, you can keep trying to parse my argument and nitpick it. But whatever, dude. You're just on your thing. I said it. I said it a bunch of times. When he throws his. Exactly. He does not protect his chin, and it is in the air. He doesn't move his head off the line. It's just right there to be hit.
Hold on, I'm getting it on bias. Hold up.
All right, thank you. Like distance control is also a form of defense. Like, I mean, I get it, but it's not true.
I mean, there's a lot of ways in defense. You know what I mean? Also, throwing in between, and some of your offense can count as defense.
There's a picture of it too, though. Just scroll down in the article, you'll see the picture of Floyd throwing a punch with his hands not tucked in his chin, next to his chin.
I see.
Yeah.
Yes, because there's such thing as no guard defense, right? And that's what Rigo is a master of. Does Inoue practice no guard defense?
Oh, I got you. I see it.
Like, dude, this is ridiculous at this point.
He could be GTS.
I mean, he could, right? But right.
What you're saying is, he's flawed because he doesn't guard his chin when he's throwing combinations and a hook, right? So Floyd's not guarding his chin while he's throwing a punch. So
okie dokie, right? So what you say that? Okay, so I got it. You're again. We've already had this discussion earlier with D, with this picture and the video. If you want to pick out moments in a fight, you can say whatever the hell you want. All of these photos, all these videos, we're still gonna go back and watch the fight and make up your own mind.
Yeah, Spence getting peppered by Porter in the fight. And he got rocked by Emmanuel Larte with his hands down as he was throwing a hook. It doesn't matter. But Inoue getting rocked by a Hall of Famer, then it's a big deal. All right, cool.
Okay, it wasn't again. Okay, he did it when his second fight. Like, he was doing that throughout his entire career. You're just distilling it to one fight. My point is about what I've seen a monster do in fight after fight after fight that I expect for him to do in his next fight.
But anyway, I think, these lists get, they get kind of, people up in arms. But the fact of the matter is, like, they're always going to be subjective.
Not guarding his chin. That's a big no-no. Look at that. You see that? Oh my God.
Yeah, you know what the issue is? It's all about positioning, right? The guy is actually nowhere near Floyd. Like, okay, I got you. Yeah, right. Because it always was like, I got you, dude. Like, I get it. I get that you don't. Right, because if a guy is not in a position to actually touch his chin, what does that have to do with the fact that you can find Floyd Mayweather not protecting his chin while throwing a punch? Like, I don't understand what your points are, dude. Like, these arguments are ridiculous at this point.
No.
Sean Newton cleaned it up all for you. Sean Newton said it right here. Bullshit.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm hearing. Is just bullshit.
Yeah, I know that you're hearing what you want to hear. You're hearing what you want to hear. You're hearing what you want to hear. That's what you're doing. Because you know what I'm talking about, and instead of talking about what I'm talking about, you're talking about all this whataboutery stuff. What about this guy? What about this guy? Really? Why don't you pull up Monster? Why don't, instead of looking at all these other guys, why don't you look at what Monster does, and let's see if it's the same thing. And let's see if it's the same, anywhere near the same thing.
D, you know I'm a Crawford. I'm a big Crawford fan. Hey D, you know I'm a big Crawford fan. But Crawford getting touched up by what's his face? What's that dude named? I forget. Mean Machine. Mean Machine. And not only that, what's the other guy's name? The tall guy, I forget his name. Jose Benavidez. He's getting touched by Jose Benavidez. He's getting touched by Ndongo. He's getting touched by pretty all the guys he's faced at 140.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Bias.
I'm not done.
Cut him off.
Okay, he getting touched up by a lot of guys at 147, right? And he got dropped versus Mean Machine. I don't take anything away from Crawford. I think Crawford's an amazing fighter. But if you're going to have the standard of defense and he's getting dropped by Mean Machine and touched up by Jose Benavidez and even Jeff Horn in spots, then you kind of have to, keep it consistent. Whereas this guy he's destroying people in 1 or 2 rounds and only got touched up really versus a Donaire.
Yeah. Hey, let me just ask a straight question. Can I? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Raider.
No, go ahead. Handle.
No, go ahead, Raider.
No, go ahead. You guys are at it. Go for it.
So let me ask you a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate Terrence Crawford's defense?
I think it's a solid. I'd say maybe like a 7, maybe 6.5 around there. 7, 6.5.
And how would you rate Monster's defense?
Probably the same. Yeah, probably the same.
You would put Monster's defense up there with Terrence Crawford. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. But okay.
I've seen Crawford get touched up in more fights than I've seen Inoue get touched up. That's just
I get it. But the issue is there's something called level of competition. But whatever, it's all good. If you're saying that Monster only gets touched up in certain fights, cool. I mean, how are you going to really display a bunch of defense if you're knocking guys out in 1 or 2 rounds? But whatever.
Oh yeah, that's his fault. You're right. Those guys, they're
I'm not
that's
saying,
his fault.
Why is it always somebody to blame? Why does it have to be your fault? It's just a feature. It's not about assigning blame to it.
He should have knocked them out. You're right.
Okay, what does that have to do with what I'm talking about? I'm biased. You're creating arguments where there aren't any. Like whether or not it's not about it's his fault. It's not about his fault that he's not. But that's not what I'm saying, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you're twisting my what I'm. Okay, either you're not understanding what I'm saying, or you need to have what I'm saying be an argument about what you're saying. And my whole point to you is, if you think that Monster's defense is as the same on par with Terrence Crawford, that's fine. From what you've seen, that's not what I've seen.
All right. Well, with that being said, let me tell you something. Unbiased and get this smoke. Y'all motherfuckers gonna have to learn how to behave, because I let this one ride, dog. Like, cause Smoke, you always bringing the excitement to it. We gotta keep this for the nighttime lives, man. That's why I ended the live earlier. I want y'all to just close out with closing thoughts today. If you think Inoue deserves to be pound for pound or don't, and then just give me some closing thoughts. I'm gonna start off with Raider and Battle Rifle, because we done heard enough from Smoke and them bias. Raider, give me some closing thoughts, fam. You think Inoue should be pound for pound top 5?
Yeah, for sure, top 5. I have him number 4, multi 3-division champion, unified, Hall of Famer, 2 Hall of Famers already. His offense is fucking crazy. One of the best out there, top 4, top 5 best offensive skills. His powers keeps moving up in weight, even though Smoke says it's every 2 pounds.
Yeah.
He could eat a meal and he'll gain those 2-3 pounds. But no, yeah, he definitely. I think for me, he's definitely up the top 5 pound for pound. I want to thank D for having me on. Battle Rifle, Bias, and Smoke. Thanks, guys, and everybody in the chat, man. I'll see you guys on the next one, boys. Peace out.
Appreciate you, Raider. Battle Rifle. You think Inoue deserves to be top 5 pound for pound? Give me some closing thoughts on that.
Oh, definitely. From what he's done, beating that Hall of Famer and Donaire, that's that tells levels to your career. I think this brought into another discussion. How do we rate pound for pound? I think that should be a good discussion in the future of how should we grade it, so we can put the discussion to an end. But I really appreciate you bringing me on.
About that, maybe we could do that.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, appreciate you coming through, Battle Rifle. Unbiased boxing talk. Give me some closing thoughts. Do you think Inoue should be pound for pound top 5?
Yeah, he definitely should be pound for pound top 5. Listen, he's transcended 3 weight classes, 10 title defenses, has arguably 2 Hall of Famers on his resume already, and is arguably a Hall of Famer himself. And he has had Fight of the Year, versus Donaire. So I mean, the kid is doing great things. He's on track to be becoming undisputed too. So I mean, his legacy, his career, I think it's only up from here. Yeah, man, definitely pound for pound. Shout out to D. It was a good stream. Shout out to Get the Smoke. We always go back and forth, but that's still the homie. Good stream, man. Good stream.
Appreciate you coming through, Unbiased. And the man of the hour, the man who always gets the live. Get this Smoke. Who you think?
Yeah, man. I don't agree with these top 5. He's got some guys ahead of him, but he's definitely in my top 10. Like I said, you have a bar. His resume is fine. He gets a couple of pound for pound, some current pound for pound guys, not guys a decade removed from the list. Then sure, that could help out definitely. His last win catapulted him higher on my list. And I'm sure if he does more, it'll get him even higher. But he's a great fighter. I can't wait to see. Young dude, nothing but blue skies ahead for him, as far as I can tell.
Sweet. All right, Smoke. Well, always appreciate you coming through, fam. You always welcome. And for everybody else, man, another great stream, another great discussion. I'll end it like this. Naoya Inoue he's hit the scene pretty quickly. A lot of these guys, the foreign guys that are not, that haven't come up in the American or the UK system, a lot of times these guys don't get that recognition that they truly deserve. The camera's not on them, and people don't realize how good they really are. But if you look at Monster Inoue and the things that he's done and the guys that he's fought, I would say that it's fair that he's mentioned in the top 5 on the pound for pound list. And I think that he deserves to be there. He's accomplished a lot. He's done a lot. And these type of discussions, guys, as I say always, it brings things to light, gives you information so that maybe you have a different perspective, or maybe it strengthens the perspective that you've already had on some of these fighters. And we'll do it again tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Speak Your Mind Sports Talk live daily, 12 p.m. Monday through Friday. Y'all know how I always in this thing. For the love of sports, let's talk about it. Peace.